do whatever it takes to win. I want to come out with the belt. I want to come out with the win, and I'm just going to go in there and fight my ass off.
Tonight against Tony, I'm going to be cyber. I'm going to be violent and finish the fight soon I can.
I've been waiting for this fight for a long time, and now I'm ready to go there and win.
You know, he's won 7 in a row, but the streak's going to end there. I'm going to go out there and take him out. I'm going to retain my welterweight championship of the world.
Beating Daniel Cormier tonight means the world to me. Just to shut him up once and for all, send him backstage crying, and I can get on with my road to greatness.
Tonight, I remain the UFC light heavyweight champion because it's my time. I've trained for this, I've lived for this. I'm ready to do what I was supposed to do the first time we fought.
Good evening to you from Orange County. The wait ends here for one of the most anticipated events in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Live inside Honda Center in Anaheim, California. This is UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones 2, presented by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. Closed captioning is available for tonight's telecast. Tonight's broadcast is available in 100% Spanish, brought to you by UFCEspanol.com. And with that, a pleasure to have you with us. As always, I'm Jon Anik. Welcome to UFC 214. As tonight we witness the continuation of one of the greatest rivalries the sport of mixed martial arts has ever seen. So Jon Jones won the first meeting, January 2015. His record, 8 consecutive UFC light heavyweight title defense. But during Jon Jones's now well-chronicled hiatus, DC became the man, a most worthy champion, twice defended the title, and all of that serving to preserve this rematch, which shall be done here tonight. My partners tonight, Joe Rogan and Dominic Cruz. Joe, you have seen all the big fights. Hard to imagine it can feel much bigger than it does in here tonight.
I think this is the most important fight in the history of the light heavyweight division. It might also be the most competitive matchup in the history of the light heavyweight division. It is a true champion versus champion matchup, and there's so much on the line. Jon Jones's legacy, DC's legacy, whether or not DC is a legitimate champion, whether or not Jon Jones can rebound from all the controversy and all the horrible things that he's done.
To me, this represents the evolution of mixed martial arts as a whole. Both these gentlemen use every martial art. They're not one-dimensional at all. Jon Jones is long, lanky, nasty jiu-jitsu. Daniel Cormier, an Olympic wrestler, great boxing, great kicks. I mean, these guys use every facet possible, and they show a level of mixed martial arts that hasn't been seen, and they really set the bar for us all alongside the big upcoming fights, too.
Well, Daniel Cormier so badly wants to be the guy to hand Jon Jones his first true professional loss. There it is. This is a kid who has long needed to be put in his place, and Dami says he is the person to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's 2 guys on the playground, these are them, and they're guarding the monkey bars right now. And right now, Daniel Cormier says, you know what, you're not coming back on my playground. I am the head honcho here, and he wants to beat Jon Jones at everything. He wants to pressure, get in his chest, hit him with big punches. He wants to finish him. But more than anything, he wants to hurt him, go 5 rounds, go the distance, and prove to himself that he's better than Jon Jones. But more than anything, prove to Jon Jones that he's better than him.
And it's not as though the first fight wasn't without merit for Daniel Cormier. Here's what Jon Jones had to say. I need to win this fight. I need to get his life back. Johnny Bones looking to restore order and become the undisputed champ yet again.
I mean, he is the most talented guy we have ever seen in the light heavyweight division. When he first burst on the scene with that fight there versus Stephan Bonner, when you saw him fight for the title against Shogun, and he opens up with a flying knee. I mean, the kid is incredibly creative, incredibly talented, but also troubled. He has been amazingly disciplined and focused for this camp. He knows how important this is, and he has looked like a man possessed. He will need that to dethrone DC tonight.
And as you saw firsthand yesterday, Joe, Johnny Bones in the shape of his life. He says he might not be much more north of 217 pounds when he walks in there tonight. Scary proposition for the champion, Daniel Cormier.
This fight has everything. It has the 2 most skillful fighters in the history of the division. It has incredible emotion. It has incredible significance. This is arguably the 2 best light heavyweights of all time in their prime.
And the best part is they hate each other.
That they do. Maybe they'll bury the hatchet later tonight, but because that main event has it all, Joe, somewhat overshadowed this UFC welterweight championship fight. Tyron Woodley looking to, for a 3rd time, successfully defend against the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ace, Damian Maia.
This fight card is almost too stacked. This fight is fantastic because you have a specialist in Damian Maia versus a destroyer in Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley has outstanding skills across the board. Excellent wrestling, fantastic one-punch knockout power, speed, athleticism, and experience inside the octagon. He has it all. The question is going to be, can he stop the takedown and keep this fight on the feet? If he can, he should have a big advantage.
And Maia believes he can take down anybody on earth, as he's pretty much done. Every single person he's faced, he's taken down at least 1 time. And the difference with a specialist like Maia is he only needs 1 takedown to keep you there for 5 minutes each round. I mean, he only needs 1 takedown, and that's if he doesn't finish you after that takedown. His top control is bar none the best in the world, and not to mention his takedowns. He doesn't shoot conventional takedowns. He shoots into you in the hopes that when you try to push back into him and stuff it, he's gonna pull you down into his guard, put you in bad half guard scenarios, bad guard scenarios to where he can dictate the pace of the fight from his back, get you, put you on your back, and then choke you unconscious. Damian Maia is a serious problem.
All right, well, if that's not enough, gentlemen, how about our 3rd title fight tonight? It's the first one you'll see here on pay-per-view for the vacant UFC Women's Featherweight Championship. Chris Cyborg has done it all short of winning UFC gold. Tonight, an opportunity to do that against Tonya Evinger.
This is a division that was created for this woman. The most violent woman in all of MMA. A destroyer. Fantastic striking ability, unbelievable aggression, and easily the most feared woman in the history of mixed martial arts. She is taking on a real tough veteran in Tonya Evinger, a girl who's stepping up, coming here from being the Invicta Bantamweight champion, but she is taking on a destroyer.
Tonya Evinger is the triple threat because she mixes up the striking, the grappling. She tries to make it dirty. She makes it a brawl. She gets in your face. She tries to make you fight as ugly as possible. And realistically, that's her best hope against somebody like Chris Cyborg. She has to make it ugly, make Cyborg fight bad, hang on her, pull her head down, get her to the mat, try for submissions, punch her, kick her, everything she can. But she is durable, and that is her biggest gift.
All right, we will see if Tonya Evinger. All right, we'll definitely have at least 1 new UFC champion tonight. 3 belts all told to be contested, part of this main card lineup on pay-per-view. And to that end, let's show you the rest of the lineup. First out of the chute here tonight, light heavyweight title eliminator of sorts between 2 of the top 5 guys in the world. Jimmy Manuwa set to face Volkan Oezdemir. Also, after a slight delay, we will finally see this dream matchup between Robbie Lawler and Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Those fights all serving to lead in to this championship triple header. But coming up next, we will get to the main card opener. Jimmy Manuwa, the poster boy, believes he is now ready to be a UFC champion. And this bona fide knockout artist will look to put that theory to the test here tonight against another talented striker in his own right. Switzerland's oncoming Volkan Oezdemir, already 2-0 thus far in 2017 to begin his UFC career in style. All right, let's get to the rules of the Octagon. 3 judges score the bout. The bout duration is 3 5-minute rounds. For championship fights and all main events, we go 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. Round winner gets 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or fewer. And scoring is based on effective striking and grappling, followed by aggression, and then Octagon control in that order. And before we get going, happy to report the California State Athletic Commission has adopted the new unified rules for 2017. So those handful of changes will be in effect here tonight. The fighters have been made aware. Tonight's UFC 214 broadcast presented in high definition, and for this outstanding pay-per-view event, the telecast is also available in 4K. All right, the housekeeping is done. Ready to go with the main card from Anaheim, California. European stars in search of a world title shot. Strikers Jimmy Manuwa and Volkan Oezdemir hope to make their case emphatically by delivering a finish here tonight. After his second straight UFC win back in May, Volkan Oezdemir made clear his intention to take on fellow light heavyweight contender Jimmy Manuwa. And tonight, Oezdemir gets his wish as he faces the British banger in a fight that could determine the next challenger for the belt.
I know I'll be able to fight for the belt with a good performance, and I will do that by knocking Jimmy Manuwa in the first round.
My fighting speaks for itself. We've got a 94% knockout ratio, and you know, it's only right that I get a shot at the title after.
Switzerland's Volkan Oezdemir has taken the division by storm in 2017, scoring back-to-back wins over Oven St. Preux and Misha Serkunov to sail into the top 5. Now setting his sights on Manuwa after his 28-second knockout of Serkunov, Oezdemir knows he can likely secure a shot at the title if he can turn back the poster boy tonight.
Beating Jimmy Manuwa will prove everybody that I deserve to be here in the top 5 of the UFC, and he's gonna bring me closer to the belt.
One of the most feared knockout artists in the game, London's Jimmy Manuwa has finished 5 of his 6 UFC wins en route to becoming an elite 205. But his current form may just be the best of his career, evidenced by his bonus-winning knockouts of St. Preux and Corey Anderson that serve to set up this massive showcase here tonight.
I'm a one-shot, one-kill artist, and it only takes one shot for me to put your lights out, and it is what it is.
Well, don't look now, but Volkan Oezdemir has vaulted to number 5 in the world. He might be fighting for a UFC title before we close the book on 2017. Dami's won 4 in a row, 2 straight here in the UFC, and none win bigger than the one he got in 28 seconds against the Canadian Misha Serkunov back in May.
Yeah, he's a talented guy, and this is a really interesting fight to get things started. He's a very good striker. You see him use a lot of traditional martial arts skills, kicks on the outside, very good punches as well. But he's fighting a guy that a lot of people want to avoid, in Jimmy Manuwa. Jimmy Manuwa is a scary man and getting scarier every day.
And the antidote to fear is trust and faith. Well, Volkan here says he was quiet growing up, dealt with stress in his own ways. He just stayed quiet, did his own thing, didn't talk to anybody. He says there's no point in getting worried or worked up about it if you can't control it. And you can't control a fight, you can only control yourself in a fight. So he says, I go very calm, cool, collected. I like to go into fights feeling basically neutral, almost nothing. And then when the fight takes place, I take my feelings where I need.
Well, he stayed calm and collected against Misha Serkunov and landed that beautiful punch to stop him early in the first round. And I mean, that just shows you what he's capable of. And he's going to need to stay calm and collected when he deals with the firepower of Jimmy Manuwa.
Well, speaking of firepower, excuse me, Don, we've been hearing for years, at least the last 2, that Oezdemir is one of the few guys down in South Florida that's willing to go toe-to-toe with Anthony Rumble Johnson. So different stylistically than Jimmy Manuwa, but certainly you can do worse than sparring with Anthony Rumble Johnson. So here is Volkan Oezdemir, 14-1, trying to secure the biggest win of his professional life tonight. Well, Joe, Jimmy Manuwa was the best 205er in the UK for some time. Joe Silva wanted to sign him a long time ago, but Manuwa, a very mature guy, felt like he wasn't ready. Finally got the call to the UFC in 2012, and now 5 years later, looks the part of a future champion to a lot of people.
He really does, and he's a very unusual case. Jimmy Manuwa told me he took his first professional boxing fight 3 months after he started training at 28 years of age. I mean, his whole story is really crazy. He's a real late comer to MMA. I mean, no martial arts experience before that, but has an incredible aptitude for the discipline.
Yeah, his mind is just so tough. I asked him, I said, what kind of fighters have you fought that kind of remind you of Vulcan? And he said, well, Blakovich, Ryan Jimmo, OSP. He said, but they're all just another body when they're laying on the floor unconscious. And then he just looked at me, and I was like, yeah, okay, I believe you. Then I walked away with my clipboard like a dork. Tucked my tail between my legs.
Well, they call him the poster boy, you would think, because he posterizes his victims. There was actually a girlfriend who saw him on a fight poster who gave him the nickname. But he said the biggest difference in him now compared to the guy who fought Alexander Gustafsson 3 years ago is his level's just offensively on a totally different level, and now he's trained alongside Gus and really believes at 37 years old that he has now hit his fighting prime. To your point, Joe, less than 10 years since starting any martial art of any kind. So another big spot for Jimmy Manuwa here tonight. And again, he was on this fight card in case one of the headliners fell out. So he's right on the cusp here of the UFC title.
It's really crazy, and it's also crazy that he's primarily a striker, which is really the martial art that most people feel like you have to start as early as possible. And Jimmy Manuwa just looks better and better every time we see him. The OSP fight is a perfect example of that. I mean, he just looks smooth, so slick in there, and he has one of the best left hooks in MMA.
9th UFC appearance for Jimmy Manuwa. 5 of his 6 UFC wins have come by knockout or TKO. Had guys like Alir Latifi and others helping him in training to simulate a guy like Volkan Oezdemir. Jimmy Manuwa about a 2-to-1 favorite here tonight as the number 3 ranked light heavyweight in the world. Manuwa, the father of 3, Marnie, Isabella, and Havana. They couldn't come to the States this time around. They made a lot of sacrifices for Dad. We'll see if he can reward that here tonight. Our Tale of the Tape is brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition, trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com. All right, Jimmy Manuwa, 37. Volkan Oezdemir is 27. Oezdemir taller by 1 inch, but the biggest number on the page, the reach advantage for Jimmy Manuwa, is 4.5 inches. All right, now, to get this main card going, the official introductions from Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Honda Center in Anaheim, California for UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones 2, presented by Harley Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 14 wins, 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 205.5 pounds. Fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, by way of Freiburg, Switzerland, presenting the number 5 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, Volkan, no time, Oezdemir. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a striker holding a professional record, 17 wins, 2 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 204.5 pounds. Fighting out of London, England, presenting the number 3 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, Jimmy Poster Boy Manuwa. When the action begins, a referee in charge, Jason Herzog.
Jason Herzog, our referee for this one. Chrissy Blair is with us. 5 Octagon girls in the building for the biggest pay-per-view of 2017 to date. Ariane, Brittany, Luciana, Vanessa, all on hand. The poster boys in the building, Jimmy Manuwa and Volkan Oezdemir, number 3 versus number 5 in this UFC light heavyweight division. Tonight's Fight Clock is brought to you by HSS, the world leader in orthopedics. Manuwa in red, Volkan Oezdemir is in black.
Watch Manuwa's left hook. That's one of his biggest weapons, and he sets up his right knee real well with it. He goes jab, jab, jab hook, then leads with the hook, and then fires the knee up the middle. And this man is powerful. But right now we're in a clinch, right where Volkan wants to be.
Oezdemir's coaches say, don't let the subdued demeanor fool you. He is confident. He's got heart for days. Nice short shot there from Oezdemir.
Huge punches.
Oezdemir hurt him.
Awesome.
Oezdemir pushes Manuwa down. He's out. Oezdemir does it again.
Wow.
You gotta be kidding me.
Jimmy Manuwa thinks he's still fighting.
Switzerland stand up as they attend to Jimmy Manuwa.
Wow.
Volkan Oezdemir on the short list of fighters of the year thus far in 2017. Unbelievable result here in Anaheim.
Dom, I think a lot of it was those shots that he landed in the clinch. He landed some hard left hands in the clinch. We're going to get a chance to look at it here in the replay. Amazing performance by Oezdemir.
Well, let's not wait. Let's get to the replay. It's brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
Right as Manuwa's trying to get a hold of him, we see, boom, up the middle, over the top, up the middle,
there,
over
right
the top.
there. And that left hand there is what did it. He falls back, bounces his head off the ground.
And really, it comes down to Manuwa.
He's got a little too relaxed in the clinch here. And Oezdemir took advantage of this position, tying him up with the right hand and landing that beautiful left hook inside. And this left hand again, right here, boom, snap the head back. Manuwa bounces his head off the canvas, which is always bad, and then that last right hand is what did it.
Well, for a long time, Volkan Oezdemir had a hard time finding opponents, and maybe you see why. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jason Herzog has called a stop to this contest at 22 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by knockout, Volkan No Time Oezdemir.
All right, I'm here with the winner, Volkan Oezdemir. First of all, what a sensational knockout. You took this fight against a man in Jimmy Manuwa that is one of the most feared guys in the light heavyweight division. Did you anticipate this kind of a shootout?
I don't know what's happening in my hands, but that's dynamite.
It is definitely dynamite. You heard him in the clinch. Let's take a look at the big screen. Inside the clinch, you heard him with these left hands. Was this something you had anticipated? Did you practice this?
I mean, you know, to tell you the truth, I saw that 3 days ago when you guys were showing Jon Jones against Cormier, and they were doing that all the time. And I look at this movement, and I say, I'm gonna do that this Saturday.
Jimmy Manuwa came into this fight the #3 ranked contender. You, in 3 fights in the UFC, are now 3-0 in the octagon against world-class competition. Give us your thoughts about where you stand in the division, especially considering the huge main event tonight for the light heavyweight title.
Hey, look at that, that's my new nickname. I got no time. So I want the winner of tonight's bout for sure.
Congratulations, sir, on a fantastic performance. Volkan Oezdemir, ladies and gentlemen.
No time, Volkan Oezdemir. Doesn't take him very much time to dust these fellow UFC light heavyweight contenders. He's gotten a lot of attention in Switzerland, more where that came from, Dom.
Looks to here, Manuwa looks for the Muay Thai clinch, and when he's going for it, Volkan just starts unloading hooks and uppercuts until he chases Manuwa back, hits him with his huge left hand, puts Manuwa to the floor, bounces head up the mat. This last one shuts him off. That one at the top of the forehead of Manuwa just shuts him off. The ref gets in there. Herzog saves him from further damage.
Well, the stars are out tonight. There's the undefeated strawweight contender Cynthia Calvillo off a big win against JoJo Calderwood. Paige Van Zandt, Cub Swanson in the building here tonight. A lot of local Californians. There's one of them, El Cucuy. Tony Ferguson, get that man a bout agreement. All right, well, here's what you can expect to see coming up on UFC Fight Pass beginning tomorrow with the Eddie Bravo Invitational, 9 p.m. Eastern for that. The flyweight set to be featured in a 16-woman submission grappling tournament. Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series going strong all summer. 5 more live fights this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then we'll have the UFC Fight Night Mexico City prelims next Saturday, August 5th. And then Polaris BJJ with a massive card 2 weeks later. That comes your way Saturday, August 19th at noon Eastern time. Download the UFC app today and follow UFC Fight Pass for more information. UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones 2 is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. By Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com. And by 7-Eleven, your neighborhood store. The main event fighter arrivals are brought to you by Harley Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. And there he is, the man who has owned this division over the last 2 years. 2-time U.S. Olympian and UFC light heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier. Twice he has defended this belt. He is as smart as he is tough. And tonight, we'll see if DC and his camp have made the requisite adjustments in advance of this high-profile rematch here in Anaheim. And it figures to take the best effort of his career to take out one of the best to ever do it. Former UFC light heavyweight king, Jon Jones. When that octagon door closes, few fighters have more weapons at their disposal, and few have been as dominant as Johnny Bones, who tonight, after an extended layoff, gets back to what he did. Well, this Tuesday, episode 4 of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, tough alum Philip Hawes with another shot to punch his ticket. He'll have to get past the Cuban Missile Crisis. Julian Marquez, also a pair of bantamweight grapplers lock horns. James Gray versus Kyler Phillips. Brendan Fitzgerald, Paul Felder will have the call next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming live and exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. So last week on the show, fellas, we saw 2 more fighters get signed by Dana White. Among them, Carl Roberson. I think he made a big impression, Joe, on the UFC presence.
Well, he certainly did. He's a sensational kickboxer who is now becoming an outstanding MMA fighter. These tight elbows inside here did the job for him. Roberson is a real contender, a real threat to anybody in the stand-up. I mean, you're talking about a guy who had a kickboxing fight with Jerome LeBanner, who's just an absolute legend. Outstanding striking skills, and now we're going to get to see how this man does against world-class competition.
So Roberson moving on to the big show, and Dominic also punching his ticket. Jeff Neal, it was his second fight in 11 days, and that seemed to help his mentality going in.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't slow him down one bit. He keeps good balance here, throws combinations. He's just flooding his opponent here, and he's able to put him out with punches, keeping good balance, non-stop combos here, as you see, in that right hand. I mean, what's good about what he does is he's covering distance without just throwing heat. He's using strategic moves in order to close that distance in that range. Very nice by Jeff Neal.
And Neal's next fight will be in the UFC. He will move down to his traditional welterweight class. So Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. This Tuesday it rolls on, only on Fight Pass. Watch rising stars in the iconic Tough Gym. Check out the Snoopcast and find out who Dana will pick to receive a UFC contract. The Contender Series live and streaming exclusively on UFC Fight Pass Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, just about ready to go with this next bout. This fight is all the rage, Joe. It's easy to see why as we pull up the welterweight rankings. Robbie Lawler entrenched at number 3 in the world, taking on the 6th-ranked Donald Cerrone as Lawler returns for the first time since relinquishing his belt about a year ago today.
Well, it's such an important fight, particularly because Tyron Woodley will be defending his title tonight against Damian Maia. But just stylistically, this is an amazing fight. Robbie Lawler is a destroyer. Ruthless is the perfect nickname for him. And Donald Cerrone has looked outstanding at 170 pounds. I like the fact that Donald's taken a long time off, too. relaxed himself from the loss to Jorge Masvidal,
right.
And now he has an opportunity to get right back in the mix against the former champion.
All right, well, it's a matchup the fans demanded, and the MMA leader made it happen tonight. They will close the gate behind action heroes Robbie Lawler and Donald Cerrone. The expectations are for one of the best fights of 2017.
Robbie Lawler versus Donald Cerrone is a fight between two of the most beloved and aggressive fighters in UFC history.
Oh, this is a fan dream fight.
Two modern-day MMA gunslingers, both stepping in there to take chances and to see if they can take the other one out. One of the most spine-tingling matchups in a long time.
These two will fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, and they will go toe-to-toe all night long.
Donald Cowboy Cerrone has looked sensational since his move up to 170 pounds.
Donald Cerrone brings a tremendous amount of cardio, a ridiculous pace, and incredible combinations.
Oh my goodness, beautiful combination on the inside.
He's quick. He's got kicks that come out of nowhere.
Oh,
my goodness! Head kick knockout! Donald Cerrone!
Cowboy Cerrone, when he puts his combinations together, is one of the most vicious strikers in mixed martial arts today.
Oh my! Sensational.
And against Robbie Lawler, he gets exactly what he wants. He's got a guy that will stand in front of him and trade strikes.
Vicious attack by Lawler.
He generates so much power. He's a very explosive individual. He finds ways to land that power. And when he does, he punches people out of their skin.
Every punch he throws is to knock you senseless.
He gets in your face, he backs you up, he takes no backward steps whatsoever. And as the fight goes on, he gets scarier.
Lawler wants the knockout! I come to fight, no matter what happens, I keep coming, and I'm trying to knock people out!
I want to see what's going to win. Will it be the power, the strength of Robbie Lawler, or will it be the quickness, the fast combinations of Donald Cerrone?
Wow! My goodness!
These are two of the most iconic figures in modern-day mixed martial arts. They're both high-level strikers, very, very experienced, 80 fights between them, but all that experience will come into play in this fight.
I think more important to them than a belt, money, rankings, anything, they want the title as the most aggressive, exciting fighter of all time. I don't care who you are. This is a fight that you cannot miss.
In the history of the UFC, here is Donald Cowboy Cerrone making the walk for his 25th UFC appearance. Joe, he's been idle since January, and Vegas's loss is Anaheim's gain. This fight was supposed to happen 3 weeks ago. Cerrone had a staph infection, a groin injury. 21 days later, it shall be done.
Yeah, he might be the most popular guy that's never won a title. And Donald has an outstanding array of skills. People forget how good his submissions are because you rarely see them. But Donald has an amazing submission game, particularly off of his back, very dangerous. And it's one of the reasons why he's so relaxed in throwing kicks. He doesn't mind getting taken down. His kicks and punches come from crazy angles. He throws beautiful, fluid combinations. And as we were talking about before, I like the fact that he took a year off, or took some time off at least, not quite a year, but time off since the loss to Jorge Masvidal. I think it's important.
I think that's been the #1 problem with Donald Cerrone in any of his losses. He was just a little bit too busy while he was cutting weight. I mean, he fought so much, and when you're keeping your body cutting weight and you're fighting nonstop, you never really get a rest. I think him moving up has given him some life in his body. I don't think he's hurting in the cut anymore. He's more happy fighting this way. He's looked outstanding at this weight class, and the way that he throws his punches, it's like he knows exactly which way you're going to move when he hits you, and then he can follow up his combination with every strike following. I mean, he's just accurate as they come, and outstanding durability and kickboxing
It's
ability.
also going from the Matt Brown fight to the Masvidal fight, I just think was a little too much. That Matt Brown fight was a war, and then he had this quick turnaround and fought Masvidal. Now he's taking 6 months off, and you're going to get a chance to see him relaxed and rested, and the stylistic matchup is amazing between him and Lawler.
Well, you run out of time to set up all of Cowboy Cerrone's credentials, but a win tonight ties him with Michael Bisping at 20. That would be the most in UFC history. Well, Dom, you talk about born to fight. Enter the 35-year-old ruthless Robbie Lawler, 40th professional mixed martial arts scrap here tonight.
I said, what makes you so mean, Robbie? Like, why do you want to go in there and get punched and have your lips split in half and then just be meaner after that? And he said, you know, I had one older brother. He beat me up so bad every single day, and I knew I had absolutely no chance of getting him back or ever winning, and he was going to be in my life forever. So I learned to just bite my mouthpiece, which I didn't have. I usually just stuffed toilet paper in the back of my mouth, and just scrap with my brother right then and there. That's where he learned that toughness, he says. He says he needs to be in the mix and composed beast to be the sharpest versus Cerrone. He needs to be in that mode. He wants to just exchange and throw, and that's what he's looking for in this fight, and that's why he wanted to fight Cerrone.
That's a common story, unfortunately. There's a lot of older brothers that have made some monsters.
Gotta agree. I mean, I tortured my brother, I'll tell you that. Still do. Probably hates me right now hearing that.
He said it too. The look of zeal in your eyes.
So, Joe, the evolution of Robbie Lawler into UFC welterweight champion, we saw an uptick in the kicking game from him. This is just a scary guy and looking to take advantage of some extended time off, not unlike his opponent.
Yeah, I think the extended time off for Lawler, the last time we saw him was July of last year. I think it's good for him. I think he had been in some crazy wars, the wars with Johnny Hendricks and with Carlos Condit and with, I mean, the war with Matt Brown, he just had crazy fights, back to back, one after the other. They were all wars, and he won those wars up until the last one with Tyron Woodley, but they take a toll. I think it's good for Robbie to take that time off, to recuperate, rest, get it all together again. He looks focused and hungry, and he looks to be in phenomenal shape tonight.
And if you read his lips there, he just said, I'm back. Robbie Lawler is indeed back, but with a different coaching staff in some part. More on that later, but our Tail of the Tape is brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com. So Robbie Lawler 35, Donald Cerrone is 34. Cerrone 2 inches taller. Both men weighing in right on the nose, 170 pounds. Robbie Lawler will have the slightest of reach advantages at 1 inch. All right, back inside the octagon now to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Muay Thai kickboxer holding a professional record, 32 wins, 8 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, by way of Denver, Colorado, presenting the number 6 ranked welterweight contender in the world, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 27 wins, 11 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, presenting the former UFC welterweight champion and the number 3 ranked welterweight contender in the world, ruthless Robbie Lawler. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Big John McCarthy.
John McCarthy, our referee. A lot of love from this crowd for both sides of this fight. Thank you very much, Luciano. We are ready to go. 3 rounds if needed in the UFC welterweight division. There is Robbie Lawler, now training under Henry Hooft Combat Club, taking on Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Cerrone is in blue, Robbie Lawler is in black. Tonight's Fight Clock is brought to you by HSS, the world leader in orthopedics.
Well, Robbie Lawler just went right at Donald, and he's landing some bombs. Donald's in trouble.
Oh, big knee from Lawler now.
Lawler is all over Cerrone. Cerrone with a nice knee to the body.
And if I'm Lawler's coach, I'm telling Lawler to do exactly this. Sprint to Cerrone, take advantage of a slow first round that he generally has, and he usually has to get punched to wake up. Well, he's been punched. Let's see if Cerrone's awake.
His right eye is almost closed already, guys.
So some early adversity for Donald Cerrone here tonight.
There looks to be some considerable swelling on Donald's right eye.
It's such a smart move by Lawler, just turn it into a brawl right off the bat. If you give Cerrone time to get his rhythm, his range, his timing, it's a bad fight.
Nice knee to the body there by Donald.
Watch that right kick, Cerrone. That right high kick, one of his best weapons. And I think we're going to see Lawler start ripping the body early on Cerrone as well. Knees, it's going to the body a lot.
Big Robbie, chants raining down from the Anaheim faithful here. About a minute gone by in round one.
Right now they're in the battle for the tie clinch. Nice elbow over the top.
Beautiful elbow.
And return.
And Robbie with the uppercut in the middle. And Donald is obliging him in this clinch here. Nice knee to the body by Donald.
7-Eleven, your neighborhood store.
Nasty knees being exchanged here. It looks like Donald's right eye, he might have just been closing it. He might have gotten poked in it or something because it seems to be open now. But he's got some swelling around the left eye as well. For sure, he took some hard shots in these exchanges.
Forward pressure of Lawler is really a problem right now for Cerrone. He needs space in order to use his kicks and his boxing extremely well. And right now, Lawler's forcing him to fight in the pocket. That's a Lawler style fight.
But Donald does fight well in the clinch with his knees, though, particularly his knees to the body.
Just takes away any prettiness of Cerrone's style, though. Yeah. He's making it a brawl. This is what Lawler needed to do in the first round.
And Cerrone has certainly shored up some things when it comes to his pocket presence, but you're right. The more range, the better, as Cerrone attacks upstairs now.
And that right high kick, nasty knee.
Nasty knee return by Donald. Robbie's doing a great job of landing those punches from the clip. There's that kick to the body, takedown by by Donald.
And that's big for Cowboy Cerrone. Just over 2 minutes to go in the round, Dom. He was not going to be denied on that attempt. Now we'll see what he can do with it.
It was an awesome adjustment by Cerrone. I mean, you got a guy who's pressuring you extremely hard, and you can't seem to figure out how to get, he's just overwhelming you. You take him down. It's exactly what you do by Cerrone, and that's an evolution in his game. A lot of times he didn't used to have that. He went double leg to knee tap and was able to trip Lawler down with that. And now he's got an outstanding top and jiu-jitsu game. Let's see if he can do anything with it.
16 career wins by submission for Donald Cerrone. And one more UFC finish would put him in a first place tie with Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort for the most in UFC history.
Cerrone's super good from the top at forcing you to somehow give your back. He bottlenecks you into bad positions, and then you generally end up giving your back up. And he just keeps, he's getting closer and closer to better position on Lawler right now. He passed all the way to side north.
Beautiful side control right there. Now moves to north-south. Excellent control of Lawler. It's one of the things we talked about with Donald. His stand-up game is so good, people forget how good he is on the ground.
And I honestly think he's the best off of his back. But right now in this top position, he's so good at keeping the control force. You know, he goes position over submission most of the time from the top until you make a mistake, and then he takes your back or takes your neck.
So Donald Cerrone survives the early onslaught.
Hard knee to the body by Donald. And there's the back. Oh, right back up to his feet. Beautiful explosion by Robbie.
And that's what Cerrone's always looking for.
Oh, he hurt him. He hurt him in the clinch.
That elbow's landed twice for Cerrone now.
Lawler getting back to that left kick. He's been in a lot of 5-round wars. So.
Oh!
There's the right high kick. And that's because Lawler's facing it. They both have the same kick on each other, being a southpaw versus a conventional fighter. So that same kick that Cerrone's using will work for Lawler as well. But Cerrone just uses it much more often. It's one of his best weapons, that right kick.
Cerrone attacks to the body. 5 minutes in the can, potentially 10 more to go. Tonight's Corner Cam is brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com.
Oh, it's a little scratch, you're good. Hey, Cowboy, listen up.
And there you see in the clinch here. Big shots by Robbie Lawler. I mean, he just swarmed Donald at the beginning of the round. But Donald maintained his composure, ate a bunch of shots, but seems none the worse for wear. And there's a nasty elbow by Donald in the clinch. And there's a beautiful knee by Robbie Lawler. And there's the takedown by Donald. And there's that high kick kind of just grazed off the side of the face, deflected part of it.
Go get him.
Dom, I got to imagine if you're Robbie Lawler, most of your UFC career has been preparing for 5 rounders. You can relate to that. 15 hard minutes should be no problem, right?
Yeah, and Lawler looks very calm, and he fought that first round perfectly. He needs to do the same thing the second round, in my opinion. Try to get Cerrone down on the scorecards.
Donald's talking, having some fun in there.
Lawler not one for pleasantries. Round 2 here. Lawler is in black, Cerrone in blue.
Saw Lawler duck his head there. Be careful for Cerrone. He's going to read that the way he's ducking to his left. That one.
Donald's using that front leg side kick a lot today to get distance. Well, this is not the distance that favors Robbie.
That is correct.
If he gives Donald a chance to do this, to loosen up and get fluid with his combinations, this favors Donald.
Now it takes a lot of energy to do what Lawler did in the first round, so he's got to compose himself round by round and decide when he's going to implement that game plan or allow Cerrone to fight from the outside like he's doing now.
Lawler goes high with the kick. Nice job by Cerrone to get the guard up. 1+ minute gone by here, round 2.
Nice elbow again. Excellent timing with that elbow in the break.
Lawler left American Top Team, now training under Henry Hoof. Tommy Barzini went with him, Combat Club there in Lantana. And it would seem like a perfect partnership, Robbie Lawler and Henry Hoof, 2 guys who like to keep it relatively simple on the feet.
I like that setup there with that low kick.
Into the corner of Cowboy Cerrone, Brandon Gibson to your right, Greg Jackson out back.
Story to the knees, story knees, story knees.
Yep, yes, make him run. That's how you make him run, Cowboy. Intercept him, he's gonna come hard.
One thing I like Cerrone's doing, you see that right teep kick he keeps throwing to cover range. That's the front kick right to the middle of Robbie's torso. That hides the right high kick, and the inside kick that he's throwing on Robbie's lead leg also hides his right high kick. So everything's camouflaged for him so that he can use that head kick.
He's also great at stabbing you in the body with that kick and taking away your wind.
And because it's a threat to your body, that's why you start biting on it, and then you get away from defending the headshot.
Oh, nice left-hand counter by Cerrone. Lawler circles out. Donald seems to be gaining confidence as we cross the midpoint of round 2.
Oh, beautiful knee to the body by Cerrone. Just the diversity of the attack of Donald Cerrone seems to be a big factor here. There's a nice shot to the body by Robbie.
Cerrone backs Lawler up again.
Kick is just so fast.
Yeah, he does very little wind-up. He just shoots it out there, almost like karate style. Oh, beautiful switch up there. And gone with the high kick after the knee. Donald's just mixing things up beautifully.
Some swelling starting to develop now on the right side of the forehead of Robbie Lawler, courtesy of the repeated head kicks from Cowboy.
What I love about Cowboy is he's changing up now. He's using offensive wrestling to hide his strikes. Even if he doesn't get the shot, he doesn't care. He's using the shot as a fake to set up his striking, and it's just very nice because he didn't used to have that threat.
And he's overwhelming Robbie with options. He's giving him so many different looks.
The shot also stops the pressure from Lawler. It keeps him on the outside so Cerrone can now use his kicks.
And unofficially already 7 takedown attempts from Cowboy Cerrone, some of those well disguised. Landed 1 in that first round.
And that's why I have to respect that plan by Cerrone. How many times have you seen Cerrone shoot 7 times? He's doing that as adjustment to Robbie Lawler's pressure. Very intelligent.
Total strikes, not much discrepancy there. Lawler darts in, pays for it.
pounding at him with those elbows.
So a strong start tonight for Robbie Lawler. Cowboy Cerrone has taken control since as the fighters exchange leg kicks here down the stretch of round 2. Ooh, straight right hand lands flush for Cowboy. Tonight's Corner Game is brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com. Henry Hoof with Robbie Lawler there.
Listen, there's only one way. You need to go forward. You need to go high, low, in the body. You need to make that space smaller. You're walking backwards.
There's that beautiful elbow from the clinch by by Donald, and there you see it again over the top. Donald's just got beautiful timing on that.
Stay on your angle. Hit that left hand go.
And there's that takedown attempt which leads to a knee and then a punch and then a high kick afterwards. I mean, beautiful combinations by Donald Cerrone.
It doesn't matter what you do. You need to do your thing. Straight to the ball. Hey, let's go. You need it, Dan. This is it. You need this round, Let's go. Let's go, Rob.
UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones 2 is presented by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. Speaking of legends, a couple of action heroes here. Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Robbie Lawler, third and final round.
Who likes fighting more than Donald? Anybody?
Well, I saw Cowboy, the other Cowboy from Brazil, come out here and do the same thing, taking pictures, relaxing. Next thing you know, he's knocking somebody out. Cerrone, fun is a scary man.
He just got caught with a head kick.
Maybe too much fun, huh?
And then Robbie went 2 to the body there, and then tried the third one to the head. Oh, beautiful knee to the body by Cowboy.
Now Lawler starting to find the range with that high kick again.
Oh, beautiful knee to the body there by Cowboy.
And you can see Lawler picking it up this round. He took 1 round off, and now he's right back onto the game plan of the first round again, right in the face of Cerrone to see if he can wear him down slowly.
And heavy on the power kicks.
Very smart.
You know, we were talking about it before the fight that Donald has had half of his intestine and stomach removed. He was in a terrible motocross accident where his guts were literally hanging out. And it's one reason why a lot of people speculate he's been vulnerable to the body.
And Lawler attacks the right side of that Cerrone body yet again. We will go into the blue corner now.
He got no liver.
Excuse me, into the red corner of Robbie Lawler.
Boy got no liver.
Keep working. Nice. That's it,
Here Kami Barzini, Joe saying, boy got no liver.
Hard left. Hard left.
Yeah, he definitely got hurt with those shots to the body. I mean, Robbie Lawler is a power kicker for sure. And Donald is keeping that right arm low, which could make him vulnerable to the head kick. He's trying to protect that body.
Lawler's found his second win, just misses on the uppercut.
Lawler coming out heavy with the pressure and the kicks, just like you said, Joe, has really, you know, gotten Cerrone to believe in Lawler's power and just take him a little more serious. Now we see Cerrone on his back foot.
Yeah, I don't know if Donald's completely recovered from those shots to the body yet. And Robbie is trying to close the distance and set him up with another one. He lands an uppercut there and a right hand over the top. Nice elbow there by Cowboy.
I think Lawler would do well to go back to that kick to the body. Keeps Cerrone honest, keeps his hands down, and then you can start going high with the head kick later from Lawler. Because you see Cerrone dropping his arm. He's covering those ribs very, very carefully.
Well, Dom, I know you like that Cerrone's mixing it up, but Lawler has the timing down. He has stuffed 11 of 12 shots from Cerrone thus far.
And Cerrone's forcing shots because of the pressure of Lawler. When somebody's pressuring you and you want to stop it, you have to do something. That's one way. Knees are another. Elbows down the middle, and also double legs or single leg shot attempts stop the pressure. But right now, Lawler's forcing the shots out of Cerrone when he doesn't want to because the pressure's too much.
Oh, he landed a nice left hand. Beautiful exchange here for both men. And Robbie senses blood.
Less than 2 minutes now to decide this one. Lawler continues to push the pace and force the action here.
And now he's punching the body of Cerrone as well.
He's doing that setup a lot where he lowers his body and then throws that high kick like he's...
7-Eleven, your neighborhood store.
They're both well trained on the other opponent. I mean, Lawler has a habit of ducking his head to the left or to the right, and Cerrone's trying to bite on that with his kicks. But right now, Lawler knows that's what the game plan is, and he's doing well with the pressure, shutting down the kicks and countering.
I mean, this is vintage Robbie Lawler style fighting right here. Constant pressure, throwing bombs, always looking to knock you out. And Donald is trying to play the matador here. Nice left hook. There's that shot to the body again.
Total strikes in the third round. The numbers unofficially tell you Cerrone has the advantage. Less than 30 seconds now to go, and Lawler has been in perpetual forward motion in this final round. Attacks the body yet again.
Big shots. Oh, Donald got hurt.
Lawler followed up with a right hand. Cerrone trying to say to John McCarthy it was an eye poke, but the action continues.
Yeah, he's wincing with his left eye.
Down the stretch we go. They are up and cheering in Anaheim, California.
Let's just add 2 more rounds real quick. What do you think? For the heck of it.
Donald Cerrone and Robbie Lawler go the distance tonight. Both men had their moments. And John McCarthy trying to confirm to Cerrone that it was indeed a glove that got him. All right, so let's look at some of the numbers from this one. 15 minutes between Robbie Lawler and Donald Cerrone, round by round. Advantage Lawler in round 1. Round 2, a big answer from Cowboy Cerrone. And then in round 3, very evenly matched. It was close on paper coming in, and that's the way it played out, boys. So Donald Cowboy Cerrone in search of a 20th UFC win, and this his 25th UFC appearance. Robbie Lawler, who won the UFC welterweight championship back in 2014, twice defended it, trying to remain in the mix of welterweight contenders. This replay is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you, Doc.
Yeah, we see the knees here from Lawler and the right hook, right overhand, I should say, whatever you want to call it, from the clinch for Lawler. I mean, just brawling, and he floods Cerrone early in the first round. Cerrone comes back with a nasty elbow over the top, reading the left hand of Lawler in the clinch, and then a great takedown. Cerrone, another right elbow, peeking through. Oh, awesome knee time by Lawler. And here we see the liver kick and high kick. Here's a high kick, but the liver kick, I mean, he threw it so hard at Cerrone.
All right, the official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score this contest 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Ruthless Robbie Lawler.
I'm here with the winner, Ruthless Robbie Lawler. First of all, Robbie, welcome back. It was an excellent fight. Did you think when it was over that you had done enough to win?
It was up in the air. I thought I won the first. He won the second, and it was leaving it up to that third round. I just want to dedicate this fight to Matt Hughes, who's fighting a lot harder than I am right now and a lot harder than I just fought. This is for you, buddy.
You jumped all over him in the first round. Was that the game plan, to get on top of him early?
Yeah, I thought so. Get in there, push him around, try to beat him up. He's resilient. I wasn't able to take him out. He's a tough opponent. He's tough as hell.
Give us your thoughts now on Tyron Woodley, the man who beat you for the title, defending his title tonight against Damian Maia, and where you fit in the big picture.
I'm not too worried about that right now. I'm just gonna spend some time with my family, go visit my buddy who's it's been long overdue. He's struggling to fight right now, and this is all about him. I'm gonna go say hi.
Congratulations. Robbie Lawler, ladies and gentlemen.
Ruthless Robbie Lawler is back and in a big way here tonight as he turns back the challenge of Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
True professional.
Tonight's champions in the crowd, brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. There she is, the former UFC bantamweight champion Holly Holm. Former UFC middleweight champ Luke Rockhold has a fight now. He's been out since the middle of 2016. He'll fight David Branch in Pittsburgh coming up in September. And the cast from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, well represented tonight here in Orange County. Well, coming up next, are we there yet already? Time to start doling out the hardware. Cris Cyborg certainly has a lot of that tonight, though. She is chasing the ultimate prize, a UFC world title. She has finished her last 11 wins, and she'll look to make it a dozen with the biggest win of her career tonight. In her way, though, one tough out, the no-nonsense Tanya Evinger, an outstanding wrestler. She'll try to push the heavy favorite into deep water here in a matter of minutes. And the next time you see the Octagon on pay-per-view, September 9th, 2 title fights coming your way from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Demetrius Johnson, 1 title defense away from UFC immortality.
That's the best pound-for-pound fighter ever.
Ray Borg.
This kid is special.
Shevchenko will be next for the champion, Amanda Nunes.
It doesn't get any better than that. Can't wait.
Potential title shot looming.
2 destroyers. Junior Dos Santos can end the fight with 1 punch.
Francis Ngannou.
He's a freak. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
History is up for grabs. All right, Joe Rogan, we are loaded. September 9th, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Demetrius Johnson trying to secure that record, 11 consecutive title defenses.
This card is Neil Magny versus Rafael Dos Anjos, Jeremy Stevens versus Gilbert Melendez, and Junior Dos Santos versus Francis Ngannou, which is a huge, huge fight for the heavyweight division. Of course, the Amanda Nunes-Valentina Shevchenko fight that was supposed to take place before Amanda took ill the day of the fight.
Right.
And Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson has an opportunity to create history.
And JDS, the former UFC heavyweight champion, you mentioned that fight, looking to silence any remaining doubters in a big spot there against Francis Ngannou. That is September 9th, UFC 215 from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones 2 is presented by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. Well, Brazil's Cris Cyborg has won everything there is to win in mixed martial arts except the UFC title. Tonight, she gets her chance to claim gold in a showdown with fellow veteran Tanya Evinger.
For 8 years, she has been the most feared female fighter in the world. Cris Cyborg.
When Cris Cyborg faces Tanya Evinger for the UFC 145-pound title, it will be maybe the first opportunity for a lot of people to see what is likely the very best female fighter on the planet Earth.
You know, I'm the real Mike Tyson MMA.
She is one of the most aggressive and ferocious strikers in MMA, period. Whether it's men's MMA or female MMA, Cris Cyborg is a machine. She's such a nightmare that Germaine Durandamy would rather relinquish her title than defend it against Cris Cyborg. Tanya Evinger has shown, with her willingness to take this fight, was her undeniable belief in herself.
I wouldn't take any fight they told me. I'm there to fight. I'm a world champion. I think I'm the best. I'm gonna take any fight you give to me.
Now she's going for it. Aurelio got him, but it's done. It is all over.
Tanya Evinger is the Invicta 135-pound champion. She shows great technique and grit and determination. She's got to be able to close the distance and utilize her excellent grappling.
It is done.
And somehow or another avoid getting knocked out in the process.
Yeah, I think I'm underestimated in a sense. People underestimate my striking, they underestimate how hard I hit, they underestimate everything about me, you know, and I just am excited to be able to get in there and showcase my skill.
You know, I'm really happy I'm gonna fight for title belt. because a lot of people don't know me yet. I'm gonna show all my fans and show who is Cyborg.
Professional mixed martial artist since 2006, Tanya Evinger has finally arrived at her UFC debut, and she gets a title shot here tonight against Cris Cyborg. And if you think Tanya Evinger is intimidated at the prospect of sharing the octagon with Cris Cyborg, you haven't met this woman. This is one tough customer.
Well, she's absolutely a tough customer. She's absolutely a very skillful and a very determined fighter. The question is, does she have the horsepower to keep Cyborg off of her? Does she have the ability to avoid the bombs and get the clinch? Does she have the knowledge and the experience to survive the hurricane that is the Cris Cyborg attack? And we're gonna find out very soon.
Evinger is the type of fighter that just has to make it dirty. I mean, there's no question about it. If she stays at the end of Cyborg's punches, tries to fight her toe-to-toe, it's not going to be pretty. She has to just try to grab a hold of her, hang on her head, make it as ugly as possible, turn it into a nasty brawl, because if it's technique for technique, it just doesn't match up at this particular point. Tanya Evinger has to turn it dirty. Turn it into scrambles, put her on the fence.
And she's got to know, everyone knows, this weight class was literally created for Cyborg.
Right.
And this is a weight class that Cyborg has wanted since she first started fighting for the UFC. I mean, she started fighting at 140 pounds just because they offered her that. Almost killed herself to try to get to 140. It's hard enough for her to get to 145, whereas Tanya Evinger fights very comfortably at 135 pounds. Big difference in size.
And Tanya Evinger stepping in for Invictus featherweight champion Megan Anderson, who, for undisclosed reasons, was unable to make the walk tonight. So opportunity knocks for Tanya Evinger. So here she is, ladies and gentlemen, a woman who is ubiquitously regarded as the greatest women's mixed martial arts athlete of all time. Third UFC appearance for Cyborg, unbeaten, dating to her first year as a pro in 2005. Tonight, Joe, after everything she's accomplished, finally gets her chance to get her mitts on a UFC belt.
And her first fight in her real weight class of 145 pounds. And I think it's really important to mention that Germaine de Randamie, who won the title against Holly Holm, just did not want to fight this woman. She said, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm stepping down, and I'm relinquishing my title. It kind of makes the first title fight almost like a non-event. I mean, it did happen, but when you just give up the belt right after you won it because you don't want to fight the most dangerous 145-pound woman in the world, this is really, tonight, in my eyes, the first championship. What's unfortunate is that she's fighting a woman in Tanya Evinger who's not really a featherweight.
Yeah, and that's the biggest standout in this matchup that makes it so lopsided, essentially, is we got somebody who moved up a weight class to fight a known champion who's been champion for a long time. So it's just, it's
and on short notice.
It's on short notice. I mean, basically, Evinger is saving the day. She's saving this fight. She's giving Chris Cyborg a fight, a chance, because nobody else wanted to fight her. How tough is Evinger? I mean, you don't want to say she's just tough because she's also a champion Invicta. It's just that's how widely regarded Cyborg is. That's how good she is. That's how far ahead Cyborg is right now.
Cyborg is a lifelong athlete. She was playing handball when she was discovered by a fellow fighter in Brazil who looked at her physique and her approach to handball and said, you gotta come try this mixed martial arts thing. The rest, as they say, is history. Our Tale of the Tape is brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com. Chris Cyborg, 32. Tanya Evinger is 36 years old. Cyborg half an inch taller. Tanya Evinger will have the 2-inch reach advantage. All right, now to get you the introductions for this UFC Women's Featherweight Championship fight, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC Featherweight Championship of the World. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Derek Cleary, Ron McCarthy, and Brandon Saucedo. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, Mike Beltran. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 19 wins, 5 losses, 1 no contest. She stands 5 feet 7 inches and 1/2 tall, weighing in at 145 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, presenting Tanya Triple Threat Evinger. And now introducing her opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 17 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest. She stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 145 pounds. Fighting out of Huntington Beach, California, by way of Curitiba, Brazil, presenting the former Strikeforce World Champion, Chris Cyborg.
I've been over the rules already. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Tough gloves now if you want. At the sound of the bell, come on out and handle your business, ladies. Let's go.
Mike Beltran fired up for the stare down. Chris Cyborg, Tanya Evinger.
And if you've never seen Chris Cyborg fight, prepare yourself for violence.
Cyborg's been training non-stop for 10 months. She said the change of opponent not ideal, but she compared it to an in-fight adjustment. Let's see how it goes. Tonight's Fight Clock is brought to you by HSS, the world leader in orthopedics. Chris Cyborg in white, Tanya Evinger is in blue.
Oh, went through the left hook right away and dropped it. But she's showing patience. And Evinger with a nice inside leg kick. Good jab by Evinger and good movement.
Straight right is there for Cyborg.
Evinger doing a good job. Oh, she got tagged there. And this is what she needed to do. Yep. She needed to just make it ugly, grab a hold of Cyborg, try to get Cyborg to just punch, not take too much damage, but just make it as ugly as she can.
Evinger pulls guard. Cyborg's making her stand up.
And despite the fact that she has a penchant for first-round finishes, Chris Cyborg has exercised some patience in her UFC career. She doesn't force things.
She's very skillful, make no mistake about it. She's aggressive, she's got ruthless power, but she's a very skillful fighter.
She also knows that Evinger wants to grab a hold of her and just hang on her, so she's keeping the distance that way and making Evinger tired by just putting pressure, looking for big shots.
A couple right hands over the top now, a knee from Chris Cyborg.
Evinger hanging in there.
No doubt Evinger's tough, and she's game, she's in it. She's not just trying to go in there and get knocked out like anybody else. You know, she wants to win this fight. She just doing what she can with what she has.
7-Eleven, your neighborhood store. And to that end, Dom, one of her coaches said that man or woman, she's the most ruthless training partner, Tanya Evinger, that he's ever trained with in anything. So high praise from her wrestling coach there.
You see her toughness. She's in it. She's not backing down. She's here.
Evinger with her hands together. Can she get the takedown?
She's got the lock, but Cyborg looking pretty strong here.
And don't sleep on the jiu-jitsu game of Chris Cyborg. She says, no one's seen my grappling because nobody has taken me down in years.
No, she has done very well in legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. And Evinger all over her here. Evinger making her work. Another consideration is that Cyborg cuts a tremendous amount of weight to get to 145 pounds. Tanya Evinger does not. Tanya Evinger may have an endurance advantage if she can survive. And Evinger gets the takedown here.
Evinger,
nasty knee to the body by Cyborg.
Evinger can keep pulling her down, keep trying this tactic, and it can wear out Cyborg. I mean, this is a way that Evinger can win. It's the only way, in my opinion, that she can create a great fight, and she's doing it.
2 minutes now to go in this first round. Lena Landsberg was able to extend Cyborg to a second round in what was a main event in Brazil last September. Cyborg complaining of an eye poke. It didn't appear that Mike Beltran saw it, but he'll give Chris the benefit of the doubt here.
Stand over here.
Well, let's see if we can see it
in the
replay.
Just think about it. Close your eyes.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that.
Okay? Close your eyes. Try to get your bearing with you, okay? ¿Entiendes? Okay?
My opinion, this break helps Evinger. She's got to hang on Cyborg and create an ugly problem for her. And this gives Evinger gas tank right now.
Yeah, especially after she took that hard knee to the body, which seemed to hurt her.
You understand? You have time. Okay?
Well, among the new rules that are emphasized has to do with that very foul, the extended fingers. When you go forward, you got to close your fist or point the finger straight in the air.
You have time to work it out.
Not even sure if Beltran's going to warn Tanya Evinger here.
Yeah, no question about that foul.
Just look it out. You good? Okay, stay right there.
All right, she says she's good, and here we go.
All right, we'll see if the brief respite helps Tanya Evinger at all. Less than 2 minutes here to go in this first round of a possible 5 to determine the UFC Women's Featherweight Champion.
Good inside leg kick by Cyborg. Both girls are extending their hands. Oh, nasty knee to the body there. Evinger doing a great job of securing the clinch. She's scrappy.
Cyborg just misses on that kick upstairs.
Evinger knows that if she gets the clinch, she can kind of just try to wear down Cyborg. That's her best bet right now. That's what we're seeing her do. She's waiting for Cyborg to come and start throwing hooks, and then she grabs a hold of her.
And she's also not trying to go strength for strength with Cyborg. She just got tagged there.
Evinger hanging tough as we expected.
She's doing a real good job of avoiding the big shots, rolling with them, getting close, and avoiding getting beaten up in the clinch.
The one problem is Cyborg's starting to go to the body, and she's finishing her combinations with head kicks, and Evinger's ducking her head to both sides. So it's just a matter of time if Evinger keeps ducking her head that way off the fence, and she's going to eat one of those kicks of Cyborg.
Inside leg kick twice by Cyborg. She's really chewing up that inside leg.
Evinger largely unfazed here. Less than 20 seconds now to go in round 1. Wayward attempt there from the underdog Evinger.
She stunned her.
Dan Henderson inside kick to an overhand right would work pretty well right about now.
Chopping right hand from Cyborg and a knee right at the horn.
Wow.
Tonight's Corner Cam is brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com.
Hey, listen to me real quick. Let me talk just 1 second. Hey, calm down. All right, you're just loading up right now. Do you feel it? All right, you got full control, but you're letting her tension get your tension up. I just keep circling, use your speed, all right, and go to the body when you got a good step. She's exhausted.
Yes, and you push her against the fence is great because she steps back. When you step back, just that looping punch, make sure your left hand's up. Okay.
Back out again. If you've got it against the fence, keep it up.
Every minute gets more in your favor. Just keep moving, keep tagging her, set him up, and take her down and hold her down this time.
Circle, go back up.
You got it, team.
Let's go to work. Let's go to work.
Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series rolls on this Thursday, August 1st, only on UFC Fight Pass. Watch rising stars in the iconic Tough Gym. Check out the Snoopcast and find out who Dana will pick to receive a UFC contract. The Contender Series live and streaming exclusively on UFC Fight Pass Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, round 2 here. Chris Cyborg, Tanya Evinger. Joe, you can do worse than Tito Ortiz and Jason Perillo barking orders in that corner.
Jason Perillo is one of the most underrated boxing coaches in all of MMA. And he was giving her very good advice, saying that she was loading up and to just let those shots come.
Evinger's corner saying just tag her, touch her from the outside here and there. She'll come to you, and then when she comes to you, try to take her down and hold her down this time. That's what Evinger's corner wants from her.
Cyborg's chewing up that inside leg.
Evinger fires back with the other leg. A lot of head movement from Chris Cyborg, and then she stuns Evinger with a jab.
Evinger with the right hand over the top. Check that one.
That inside kick is going to set up a big right hand for Cyborg. She keeps landing it. Turns the hips square of Evinger, and then the right hand just lined up perfectly down the pipe.
Some would argue Evinger's stock goes up even by extending Chris to a second round.
Well, her stock went up just accepting this fight.
Yeah, agreed.
There's not a long line of people willing to fight Cyborg short notice for the title, 10 pounds above your fighting weight.
Right.
The head going down of Evinger is the biggest worry I have for her because Cyborg's starting to read the kicks up high. So keep that hand up if you're going to duck your head if you're Evinger.
Evinger's got to land something to get Cyborg's respect. She's looking to land that jab. Oh, she got caught with the right hand there. And here's the clinch. Knee to the body by Cyborg.
Nicely done.
Oh, nice uppercut by Evinger.
I mean, you see the tactics of Evinger. It's sit, wait, tag her. When she comes in, grab her, try to take her down, put her on her back, and wear her out by keeping her on her back as long as possible. I mean, that's how you survive the fight and hopefully wear down Cyborg while she's trying to hurt you. And then you have a chance to get the win in the later rounds, possibly, if you wear her down. That's what Evinger's hoping, and that's her tactic. And right now, she's lasted almost 2 rounds from it.
Marlos Kunin extending Chris Cyborg to a 4th round back in 2013. Right hand lands for Evinger, and then Cyborg, with twice the authority, lands Marlboro.
What this style does is it just slows down the pace of Cyborg. It keeps her from being able to just tactically pick her apart because Evinger just grabs a hold of her, so it slows things down, and it makes Cyborg have to take her time more, which makes the fight last a little bit longer.
Cyborg staying light on that lead leg. Again, attacks the lead leg of Tanya.
Telegraphed that one a little bit, but she's looking to go up high.
Cyborg would do good to land that inside kick and then follow up that inside kick with a barrage of punches.
We talk a lot about Cyborg's talent, but the work ethic is there too, the coachability. She feels like she always is learning and improving despite her status as one of, if not the greatest of all time. Less than 2 minutes here to go in the 2nd round.
Beautiful leg kick by Cyborg. You have to wonder if this fight continues and Cyborg can't take Evinger out and you get into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, whether or not she starts getting discouraged. Well, she's landing good shots, particularly these leg kicks here. But Evinger has been able to be a wily opponent. She's using her experience. Oh, she's got tagged there. But she rolls with things.
Yeah, man. Last thing she's looking for is a way out. Very incredible out of Tanya Evinger.
No doubt about it. She's in there to win.
Well, for Evinger, she's just kind of waiting for Cyborg to unload and wear herself out, punching, kicking, trying to grapple her, and then hopefully she has an opening somewhere in the middle of that to get her finish or get her takedown or make it her fight. But right now she's waiting on Cyborg, so Cyborg's comfortable. She's probably not going to get tired because Evinger is not being first at all. She's just waiting. So that keeps Cyborg at her own pace, which means she probably won't get too tired doing this.
And Cyborg isn't loading up. She's throwing technical strikes. Nice inside leg kick. She's landed many of those, and that's gonna take a lot out of the movement of Tonya Evinger.
I think if Cyborg just started going only to the body of Evinger, it would really slow down any tactics of Evinger to counter, to hit her with right hands, or to do anything about it. Body shots would be a real usage for Cyborg at this point because Evinger's ducking her head so much.
Cyborg just misses on that head kick attempt. Under 10 seconds now to go here, round 2. So Tonya Evinger has extended the minus 1100 favorite Chris Cyborg to a 3rd round.
And here you see a leg kick by Evinger, but a hard jab by Cyborg. There's a right hand by Cyborg. And here's another right hand. There's a head kick that didn't quite land clean.
I mean, every one of these strikes, Evinger's seeing coming, so she's just getting out of the way. Barely.
She is tough.
Let's move, man.
A woman's
Stop
very
dipping your
tough.
head.
No
Keep your
doubt.
hands up. Take her
We
down
knew
to
that
something
before this
wrestle.
fight started.
3 rounds, deep waters. This is where we want it right here. This is what we work for.
She's just bringing her stock up, proving it more and more. And anybody who faces her knows what they're running into now. Tough person is not backing down from anybody. Doesn't matter who you put in front of her in Evinger.
You take it this round.
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyright work is illegal and punishable under law. Excuse me, Joe.
Sorry. I'm excited about this fight. I'm enjoying this fight, but it kind of makes me feel robbed that Jermaine Durandamy isn't fighting.
Yeah.
Well, I think that proves that Evinger would put up a better fight in the way I see it, because she didn't even want to get in here. Evinger's here, so I'm glad to see Evinger put up this fight with Cyborg.
Absolutely. There's that inside leg kick again by Cyborg. You got to wonder if Durandamy is at home, though, watching this, thinking.
Mad at herself.
Yeah.
Because somebody was tougher than her to take the fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would make me mad. I'll tell you that.
Oh, right hand.
Maybe the most significant strike of the fight right there for Chris Cyborg.
With that head kick.
Evinger just looking at her like, really? You gonna kick me in my head?
And Evinger not even a scratch on her. Cyborg knocks her down here. Could this be the beginning of the end? 1 minute into round 3.
Hard leg kicks by Cyborg. Good Lord.
No surprise, Cyborg welcomes Evinger back to her feet. Evinger, former construction worker, used to work for the railroad. Longtime wrestler before having some issues with USA Wrestling. Leg kicks for Chris Cyborg. 24 of 24 will work.
Hard kick by Cyborg and a beautiful jab behind it.
Superman punch landed partially for Cyborg. Oh, simple flush knees now.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Chris Cyborg finally can add UFC champion to the ledger. We have a new UFC women's featherweight champion. Chris Cyborg will be belted tonight.
Tonya Evinger is one tough woman. I got to tell you that. She took a fight very few people wanted to take. She gave her all, came up short, but much respect.
And honestly, I think Evinger will get other ladies to take this fight after watching the toughness of her. You know, other ladies are going to say, I can step up too. And I think we're going to see some future fights for Cyborg from here.
All right, let's take a look, I should say, at Chris Cyborg's handiwork. This replay brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you, Dominic. Largely Chris Cyborg here tonight as she becomes a UFC champion for the first time.
It was the knees here in the clinch, and this one right here dropped her. And she's in big trouble, and Mike Beltran steps in and stops this fight. Here you see it again. A very technical performance by Cyborg. Took her time and dismantled the very tough Tanya Evinger.
And she heeded the advice of her chief corner, Jason Perillo, who told her not to load up as she was doing in round one. Bided her time. We've said she's patient, lets her skills take over. And Chris Cyborg, as many expected, has done it here tonight. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a vast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here now, Bruce Buffer to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mike Beltran has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 56 seconds of round number 3. Declaring the winner by TKO, and now the new undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world, Chris Cyborg.
I'm here with the winner and new UFC featherweight champion of the world, Chris Cyborg. It's been a long time coming. How does that feel to hear those words?
You know, I don't have a word for say, just to say thank you for all my fans coming here, watching me. Cyborg Nation forever. Hello para Brasil, galera. You know, one thing, everything, a lot of things happened in my career. But before I'm just crazy inside the cage. Now I'm learning fighting. I have come down. I see the nice shot for throw the shot. And I'm really happy to be a world champ. And this is perfect time because I think I'm at the top of my career now.
Well, you fought a very technical and controlled fight here tonight against a very tough woman in Tanya Evinger. Very few women wanted to take this fight with you. You've been the most feared woman in MMA for a long time. And now you are the UFC champion. How happy are you?
I'm really happy. I just want to say thank you for my team, George Pragente, Tortillas, Dan White for giving me the opportunity, and all my fans and my family. You know, I'm happy. I'm going to make a great fight inside this octagon. I'm really happy. This is just a beginner.
Congratulations. New UFC Women's Featherweight Champion, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Cyborg.
Well, the picture tells the story, and it just looks like it's meant to be. Chris Cyborg with a UFC belt firmly around her waist. They are now all chasing Chris Cyborg in this UFC Women's Featherweight division. What a moment for one of the greatest women to ever do it. While the stars are out tonight here in Anaheim, California, Armie Hammer is here. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is in the building. Big pop for The Rock. Miles Teller alongside as well. As we continue with the biggest pay-per-view of the year to date, Team Cyborg going home, not far from here, with the UFC gold.
I think what becomes interesting now is when you have this dominant champion like Chris Cyborg obviously is, it brings me back to the days when Anderson Silva was champion. When you have someone who's at the top of the heap that's so dominant, then you raise the bar for all the people underneath. And you're going to see some very tough women emerge in this UFC featherweight division. This is going to take a while because right now we have one incredible fighter at the top of the heap. And all those young contenders that are watching right now, they're going to have to raise their game.
Yeah, it's all build-up for the rest of the division from here, and basically Cyborg is the person to build the division. I mean, it's similar to what we saw at 125 pounds, Demetrius Johnson. At the top of the heat, all these guys are trying to catch up to him. She's going to do the same, but run this division, and it's a new division for her.
Well, it's also what we saw with Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey at bantamweight was dominating everybody until finally it caught up with her, and you got Holly Holm. And then you got Amanda Nunes. Now you have the top female fighters. You get Shevchenko versus Amanda Nunes, arguably one of the most skillful matchups ever in women's MMA.
Yeah, and we heard Vulcan say he took something from Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier. That's guys in the bottom of the ladder taking stuff from the champions to get better. That's what we're seeing. That's what these champions do. They make everybody underneath them reach their level, and then it grows from there.
All right, we'll see Megan Anderson, Holly Holm, who will be next for Chris Cyborg, but a fitting visual there with Chris Cyborg having that UFC belt. All right, we are happy to announce, boys, at this time, our first live event in mainland China. So UFC Shanghai going down November 25th at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Tickets going to be available as early as August 1st. So Dom, we've been to Macau, I think 3 times. First show on mainland China. You've seen a lot of talent start to develop, and happy Thanksgiving. We'll be there.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm sorry. That was too good. We're going to be out there, and it's huge because it's a huge market. I mean, you got the whole martial arts thing that started in that area, started in Japan, started on the East, and then it's kind of gone this way, and it's been everywhere, but they are the building blocks. Bruce Lee, all this stuff, they are huge into the sport. I mean, they watch everything we have going on here. Now they're going to be part of it, and who knows how many of these guys we're going to get coming in and flooding the octagon.
Our matchmakers are pretty encouraged by the local Chinese talent. Many of that talent will be showcased for UFC Fight Night coming up in November. So here's a look at the 4th quarter for the MMA leader. All You Can Handle Pro, October 7th. It'll be UFC 216 at the T-Mobile Arena, and then we close out the year in that very building with UFC 219 on December 30th. But hope you'll join us for the inaugural show from mainland China in Shanghai on Saturday, November 25th. Well, it has quickly become appointment viewing on UFC Fight Pass, and for more reasons than one, there is a new destination for mixed martial arts fans on Tuesday nights.
It's the ultimate job interview. Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Each man tonight looking to impress, trying for that UFC contract.
We're gonna see some brawls with everything on the line.
It's about to heat up in here.
You're going to have to protect that chin, baby. These guys are here to take each other's heads off.
He heard him, that's it!
He busted a windmill with a nutcracker?
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh. He is down, and that is it. O'Malley! Give that kid a contract! Welcome to the Sugar Show!
Tuesday nights just got a whole lot better, didn't they?
Oh!
What other organization would have the balls to put Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber doing commentary with weed and gin? I mean, it is ridiculous. These are ridiculous people to work for.
Well, not to burst your bubble, but there's no marijuana allowed in the broadcast booth anymore. I didn't see it on episode 3, but here are the next 4 shows. Yeah, no, I think, you know, well, we're going to move on if that's okay with you. Here are the featured bouts coming your way over the next month or so, beginning this Tuesday, August 1. A lot of middleweights, light heavyweights with a massive opportunity to fight in front of Dana White and the matchmakers, of course, at the Fame Gym in Las Vegas. The fights continue live exclusively on Fight Pass this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But now, after solving the puzzle of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, the undisputed UFC welterweight champion, the chosen one, Tyron Woodley, has another tough task ahead of him in title defense number 3.
Tyron Woodley will defend his UFC welterweight championship against arguably the best grappler who has ever competed in MMA.
Looking for the finish!
Most people, they want to be like everyone else. What I try to do is be different. I'm training to be the best jiu-jitsu specialist in the MMA history.
When you watch Damian Maia run through Rick's story,
He's got him on the face. He's turning into a necklock. Oh, see my goodness.
when you watch the way he just choked the life out of Neil Magny.
He tapped! He tapped!
What you're looking at is jiu-jitsu on a completely different level than anyone else. But he is fighting a guy in Tyron Woodley who might be the fastest, most powerful knockout artist in the history of the 170-pound division. He showed that vicious knockout power against Jay Heron. He showed it against Josh Koscheck. And he showed it in spades when he knocked out Robbie Lawler in 1 round to win the title.
Attacked him. Big shot. It is wow.
Tyron Woodley gets better with every fight.
I still haven't showed the world my entire arsenal. I started out in grappling. You know, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I have the best takedown defense in the entire welterweight division. I'm not a guy that you're going to easily submit. You know, it comes a point in time where you come and meet your match, and I think I'm that guy for that.
In all my fights in the welterweight division, I was able to take the guys down. So I don't think this fight will be different.
I'm going to give him the respect that he's earned and he's deserved, but I'm the world champion. I'm the best in the world. I'm the best welterweight that's ever going to fight in the octagon, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show him.
So here he is, the #1 ranked welterweight contender, Damian Maia. Only one man in UFC history has more wins. Only one man has more submissions. And one of the best grapplers in UFC history, Maia, tonight trying to complete the mission and leave here a UFC champion.
He's really one of the last true specialists in MMA. A guy who really only uses his striking to close the distance, to set up takedowns, to use his jiu-jitsu. And even on the ground, he will land some shots on the ground, but they are almost purely to set up his jiu-jitsu.
Tonight's Prep Point is brought to you by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend.
Multiple-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion and widely respected as one of the greatest submission artists in the history of mixed martial arts. And this will be his first shot at welterweight gold.
Something about Damian Maia and the way he fights creates a stalemate for a lot of his opponents. They want to throw, they want to kick, they want to unleash everything on him in the stand-up realm, but they're so concerned of the takedown that all their punch count comes down, their kicks come down. Nothing really works right because they're so concerned that if Damian Maia gets one takedown, they're not going to get back up for the rest of the round. So it makes the guys that are seemingly the best strikers in the world, like Anderson Silva, go 5 rounds because they have to be so concerned about the takedown of Maia. This is what Woodley has to worry about tonight, and this could make Woodley very gun-shy.
His past opponents keep talking about his persistence to gain a dominant grappling position. Most know what's coming. Few can stop Damian Maia. We'll see if T. Wood can do it. reigning undisputed UFC welterweight champion, the Ferguson, Missouri native Tyron Woodley. And Joe finally starting to get some of the appreciation that I think he richly deserves.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that Tyron Woodley never even had a real full-time coach until he started training with Duke Roufus. And that was from the advice of his son. It was his son's idea to train at Roufus Sport in Milwaukee. And since then, he has looked sensational. That was from the Kelvin Gastelum fight. Since then, he has gone on to win the title and look amazing. And what Tyron Woodley brings to the table is excellent wrestling and ferocious knockout power. What Duke Roufus has done was figured out a way to get him to pace that power, to extend his endurance, to hide his techniques better, and he has just looked more and more technical with each fight. But the big thing with Woodley is always going to be the consequences of engaging with him. You got to think he went 2 5-round fights with one of the best strikers in the sport, in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and it was Woodley who had Thompson hurt badly. It was Woodley that came close to finishing the fight by knockout twice, both fights. So the consequences of engaging with this man are absolutely terrifying to most fighters.
And what I love about Woodley, and especially that Wonderboy fight, those 2 Wonderboy fights, is it shows the intelligence, most of all, of Tyron Woodley. You can't forget, you can't just run in on a guy that throws spin kicks, that throws crazy knees. Wonderboy is a nasty customer. He's not somebody, you have to be very tactical, very intelligent the way you fight that man. He fought him twice, beat him, and was able to do the most damage because he picked his shots at the right time. You know, he gets critiqued. He didn't throw that much. It was a tough fight. It was back and forth. But if you really look at that fight, he fought it perfectly because that's how hard Wonderboy is to beat. And I think we're going to see the same mindset from him in this fight with Damian Maia. Extremely intelligent. He's not just strong, explosive, fast, and a great athlete. This guy is smart. He understands the game. He's been in it forever. I've seen him beat jiu-jitsu practitioners. I've seen him beat wrestlers. I've seen him beat strikers. He's that good and he's that intelligent about the game.
I completely agree, and I think that the people that were disappointed in that fight, they don't really understand the consequences of engaging with a Wonderboy. He did, he figured it out, and he retained the title twice.
We'll see if Damian Maia can end Tyron Woodley's welterweight title reign here tonight. Let's get to the tail of the tape, brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural, high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com. So Tyron Woodley, 35. Damian Maia will be 40 in November. Maia, the former middleweight title challenger, has the height advantage, if you want to call it that. But Tyron Woodley will have a 2-inch edge in reach. All right, now for the official introductions for this title fight, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC welterweight championship of the world. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Sal D'Amato, Marcus Rosales, and Wade Vieira. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Herb Dean. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter holding a professional record, 25 wins, 6 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, presenting the 3-time World Cup Jiu-Jitsu champion and the #1 ranked welterweight contender in the world, the challenger, Damian Maia! And now introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter holding a professional record, 17 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC welterweight champion of the world, Tyron, the chosen one, Woodley!
Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. We're gonna have a clean fight. Touch gloves and let's do this.
Just saw there Tyron's mother, Deborah Woodley. I had the chance to spend some time in Ferguson right before this training camp. This is a close-knit family, and they are out to support the UFC welterweight champion tonight in defense of his title against the submission magician, Damian Maia. Tonight's fight clock, is brought to you by HSS, the world leader in orthopedics.
This is such a fascinating matchup to me. I'm so curious to see how this plays out.
I have a feeling Maia's going to put Tyron on the cage.
Wow, look at that, right away. Right away shoots.
Woodley has a habit of using the fence as a gauge for when people come in on him.
Look at this.
Woodley's been taken down one time in 11 UFC fights. So far, so good.
And Damian's already cut.
His eye, there's something going on with his left eye.
I don't know what happened to his eye. I don't know if he got caught with an uppercut on the way in or what, but it is bad.
Can a squeeze do that type of damage? I mean,
I think it was a strike. We'll have to take a look at the replay to see if we can find what happened, but his left eye is almost closed.
Pretty sure Woodley hit him with an uppercut on the way into that shot. And now what I'm seeing is that Damian's gonna pull him to the half guard sweep here, just yank him on top of him. Right now, Woodley knows exactly what's going on. See how he's controlling the hand of Damian?
Yeah.
As long as he controls that hand, Damian can't lock his hands and finish the takedown. That's why you see the hand control. Hand control is key. Grips are everything in jiu-jitsu and also wrestling. Hand control is everything here.
And great patience by Tyron Woodley as well. 2 takedowns avoided.
So a decidedly different challenge for the champion here tonight compared to his previous defenses against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
And now he waits, Tyron waits for Damian to get himself tired, missing shots, not finishing shots, and then he starts picking him apart with power as Damian comes to him. Looking for uppercuts, knees, and overhand is what you're gonna see from Woodley.
Woodley traditionally a fast starter, staying patient though here in the early going, about 2 minutes gone by in round 1. Another shot from Maia here. Woodley too strong so far.
Something happened here.
Oh, fence grab.
Get in the factory thing. You grab the fence again, I'll be taking a point.
And it's so hard to not grab the fence when you're losing your balance. It's near impossibility, but you better be careful. Good left hand landed by Maia.
Maia again grabbing the leg and Woodley avoids it.
And this is exhausting, going for takedowns and not completing them. So Woodley's counting on this. Woodley's counting on Maia to get tired doing this well. Woodley's kind of waiting. Maia will come to him and he'll keep firing overhands and uppercuts.
Maia is throwing that left hand to try to keep Woodley honest as he tries to close the distance.
You see Maia unofficially 0 for 7 on his takedown attempts thus far. Maia has taken down his last 12 UFC opponents.
I'd like to see Maia use that left high kick. I mean, it's a huge weapon to shut down Tyron's right hand. If you start throwing it, he's got to defend the left high kick of Maia, and then he can't use the uppercut and the overhand right the way he's using it to counter Maia on his takedown. He's just waiting. It's like having a knife on your hand. You're waiting for the guy to come in, and you're just going to fire it as hard as you can when he shoots the shot, because Maia's shooting empty shots. He's not really setting them up.
Tyron Woodley, 2-time Division I All-American wrestler, Big 12 champion, over 100 college wins at Missouri. But he has been a knockout artist in the UFC. 5 of his 7 UFC wins have come by knockout or TKO. Nice job by Maia to get the guard up there.
Maia's smart to sit back for a second, get his energy back before he starts in for another takedown. He's fighting a one-dimensional fight, so he has to be careful when he decides to use his energy in Maia.
It was more than 7 years ago when Damian Maia fought Anderson Silva for the UFC middleweight title. April 2010, that fight went the full 25 minutes. And this was a short camp for Damian Maia. He had to be smart and efficient about his training. A lot of it was focused on cardio and getting in shape. But at this point, Maia does what he does. Another shot
there by Maia, but beautiful stuff by the champ.
Less than a minute here to go round 1.
Part of the problem is Maia's shooting now and he's not driving his leg. You see him stop on his knees there, Joe?
Yeah.
You can't finish a shot if you stop on your knees. It's wrestling 101. Keep your head up, you drive straight through the shot. Never stop running. See, I like how Woodley's staying away from the fence now. You see how he's kind of coming closer to the center of the octagon? Because Maia has his best success on the fence. Keeping him in the open mat forces Maia to use strategic, technical wrestling for the takedowns instead of jiu-jitsu by yanking him on top on the fence. The fence gives Maia his best hope. Woodley's keeping away from there for the most part now.
Woodley's showing him the punches and feigning with the kicks.
Now he's baiting him. He's looking for that uppercut right now. See how he's tipping his right shoulder?
They're gonna have to get that end swell on that eye quickly.
It's an easy read to land an uppercut when you know a guy's gonna shoot on you.
And that was what was landed, and we'll get a chance to take a look at that in the replay. But as Damian shot, Tyron landed a beautiful
Pay attention. He's trying to catch you in the upper when you come in. When he explodes, and he does 1-2 and explodes. You have to try to take him straight. Pay attention. Come in. Start, go to the single and try to go on his foot. Try to get his hip a little bit more under control. He also fed a little bit your straights. You have to stay firm in your intention. He's going to get tired in each round. Come on, you got to move your head.
Let's go!
This fight just goes to show you the power of this Tyron Woodley to not even land flush necessarily and nearly close Damian Maia's eye.
Yeah, literally the first punch he threw.
Well, the first punch you throw has the most power on it, and you're the most connected to throwing it and knowing you're going to land it, and that's what we saw. Ooh, good. To throw the punches and then one powerful one at the end, smart by Woodley.
And Woodley's keeping his center of gravity low, dipping his weight down, driving forward with these shots. Nice inside leg kick there by Woodley.
I like Woodley controlling the center of the octagon now. I think it's a smart tactic. Kind of keeps Maia thinking. Can't drive him to the fence the way he needs.
Straight left hand by Maia.
Knocked down for Woodley, and you can be sure he will welcome Maia back to his feet. Been there, done that.
Right hand landed so hard.
Tyron's talking to him. He's talking to him.
If you break it down, Maia has one way to win. He's got to get the takedown. Woodley knows that, so he's counting on his wrestling to back him up, and then his power to defend that.
Damian Maia's throwing bombs now himself.
Woodley looking to set up that uppercut, instead goes to a right hand that landed partially. Well, Woodley was backing up towards the fence in round one. Forward motion, 90 seconds into round two.
That eye looks horrible now.
Yeah, to what extent, Joe, is his vision compromised at this point?
It's a really good question. And it's also a real good question as to whether or not he's got a shattered orbital. So how much can he absorb? Well, usually when an eye swells up that quickly, there's probably some damage. Who knows how bad to the orbital.
Woodley's so smart, though. Look how he runs like this. I mean, he just gets out of there. He doesn't even let Maia have a tiny opportunity to grab a hold of him. And this wears down Maia.
Crowd appreciating Tyron Woodley's takedown defense. He has stuffed all 10 of Maia's shots as we go under 3 minutes now in round two.
These are the tactics and the smarts I'm talking about Woodley. I mean, it's not like Woodley doesn't say, oh, I can wrestle with them, I can grapple with them, I'm the brown belt. He just stays away from it completely and keeps Maia uncomfortable until the inevitable happens.
Yeah, he's just trying to win. He's not trying to show off. He's not trying to do anything to prove a point. He's being smart, and he's winning this fight so far.
I feel like that's the next level of mixed martial arts now. I mean, it used to just be guts and glory, and that was it. Now these guys are thinking. These guys are using strategies, and it's awesome to see.
Hey, fight fans, check out the UFC store on your mobile device. Get your favorite fighter gear and more. Shop now and receive 15% off during tonight's fight. Use code UFC214 and start saving today.
Tyron just shucked him off there. And over again, he's been denied with these takedown attempts. And as Tyron gets slipperier and slipperier as he sweats, it's going to be harder and harder for Damian to take him down.
Maia Maia has gone 5 rounds several times in the UFC against Ryan LaFleur, Jake Shields, of course Anderson Silva in that middleweight title fight 7 years ago. Woodley trying to work his way into striking range.
He's just faking and making some reads. He's looking for just the one big knockout punch right now on Woodley, but he's also trying to not overcommit, lose his balance, and give Maia a chance to shoot on him. See how he goes to the body? When you rip the body like that on Maia, it takes away any chance of Maia shooting underneath his punches.
And as we've seen with Damian Maia, as he lands the left hand there, all it can take sometimes is one takedown, fight's over. Past wins like against Carlos Condit, got to be careful if you're Woodley.
And he's swinging. I mean, he's swinging with that right hand, and he has thrown several good straight lefts. So Tyron has to be aware of those as well.
I mean, if I'm Maia, I don't know why I'm not using a left high kick, being you don't care if Woodley takes you down. I mean, I think that'd be a huge weapon for him, but we're not just seeing it. We're just not seeing it out of Maia right now.
Total strikes, Woodley tripling up on Maia. Limited action though on both sides. Under 30 seconds now to go in the round.
Have you ever seen Maia throw a high kick?
Well, I mean, we've seen him try, but I mean, at this point,
I don't recall. I mean, I know he's kicked, but I don't recall him ever throwing a high kick.
Well, you know he can do it. I've seen it on pads. It's just a question of he doesn't care if he's taken down, so why not throw it?
No, it's a very good point. I'm just trying to think if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I get your point too. Of just what's really happening now. I mean, it's worth a try is my point.
All right, 10 minutes in the books. We will go right into the blue corner of the challenger, Damian Maia, as Mike Afanasiev continues to work on that cut.
Okay, breathe. Okay, take your mouthpiece out. Breathe. Make some waters in your hand. You have to get near him.
You're taking away his ground game, and you showed him he can't hit you with nothing when you don't want to. So now it's time to make him pay.
Doing really good. Once in a while, off the jab, go 1, up 2, uppercut 2, or 1, 2, 1, and then go out and look for the right, okay?
Yeah, cover some distance to move it away.
Yeah. Putting that double jab in combination.
He's 1 or 2 hard punches and falling over, Tyron.
Hey, Tyron, stay alert now, because he's going to be desperate.
Yeah, he's going to be desperate, so stay alert. All right, so we're going to keep battering him up, keep pulling off his layers.
Brittany Palmer getting us going for this middle round of a possible 5 for the UFC Welterweight Championship. Woodley's kept quite the schedule over the last 364 days. This is 4th fight in that time as the doctor takes a look at the eye of Damian Maia. Doc says he's fine and starting to maybe look a little bit better than it did towards the tail end of that 2nd round.
So they've done a good job of the end swell, which will push some of the swelling away from the eye, and he hasn't really been tagged cleanly again on that eye, but if he does, it could shut up totally.
Maia's corner said that he's got to get closer before he shoots, but they didn't really give him any tools to get closer. So that's kind of a problem. I mean, he hasn't really had an answer for the distance yet of Woodley.
Counter right landed partially for Tyron Woodley there.
Good job blocking that one by Damian.
Short uppercut to the body lands for Woodley, who has stuffed all 12 takedowns from Damian Maia thus far.
Damian is a huge 172. That's one thing to consider. When you're talking about a guy who fought at 185 pounds, cut weight to get there. We haven't seen him in a real grueling fight at 170 go 5 rounds, have we?
No. Went the distance in a 3-rounder with Gunnar Nelson.
And that was a fight where he totally dominated.
Yep. Split decision win over Jorge Masvidal his last time out. A fight in which he was challenged more than any other during this welterweight run.
I like how Woodley's trying to set up his right-hand power. Instead of just throwing a jab overhand right, he throws a 1-2-1 to get Damian Maia to parry his hands. And then he comes over the top of the 1-2-1 with a power overhand right. It gets your hands away from your face to defend the 1-2-1, and then he comes and slips right over the top with it with an overhand. That's what you see Woodley trying to set up right now.
And Tyron has only thrown a couple leg kicks, and his leg kicks are particularly powerful. You look at the size of the legs that guy's running around with.
You're right, just 3 leg kicks out of Tyron Woodley thus far. Less than 3 minutes now to go here, round 3.
I mean, his legs are cartoon big.
That's like a baseball catcher. Woodley splits the guard of Maia there with the right hand. But largely, Woodley is out as quick as he's in because of the threat of the Maia takedown.
This is what I was talking about. Maia, I mean, you have to respect his takedown ability and his grappling, so you can't just throw with reckless abandonment. And these seem to be the matchups that Woodley gets. He's got Wonder Boy and he's got Maia. I mean, you can't just throw on these guys because you want to see him hit him. You got to be careful. You got to choose your strikes.
I like how he did that. Showed the hands and landed that inside leg kick.
And if you think a few boo birds are going to affect Tyron Woodley, you haven't met the man. He's trying to leave here as the UFC welterweight champion. And sometimes, Dom, as we've talked about in the elite levels, you can get a little bit of a staring contest at times.
Yeah, you can't make this exciting and just try to please the fans and keep your title.
Right.
It's hard to please the fans,
yeah,
in general.
To ask DC about that. They're still booing.
Now some swelling in and around the other eye of Damian Maia.
Damian looking to land a heavy shot, and that could be one of the ways that he could set up a takedown if he can get some success with his stand-up and land a good shot on Tyron coming in like that. Good sprawl.
Look at him push the head down.
But this is also what I said. It's a bad takedown attempt by Maia. He didn't drive his feet. He got planted right at the touch and just face planted into the mat. I mean, that's wrestling 101. Yeah, you got to drive through your shots. That's why you see Maia get so many takedowns on the fence, because with the fence behind, you don't need to drive. You can pull back. In the open mat, that's not an option.
And you see Maia's right knee all chewed up, courtesy of those 13 failed takedown attempts. Less than a minute here to go, round 3.
There's one of the rare kicks we've seen Maia throw. But I agree with you, Dom. He should throw a lot of them. He should be kicking those legs. He should be kicking the body. He's not worried about being taken down, that's for sure. He would love it if Tyron took him down and wound up on top. He would love it.
Yeah, I mean, when you got that level of jiu-jitsu, if you're asking me, throw anything in the world that you want to, and don't stop throwing it because you have nothing to risk.
He landed another good inside leg kick there. Perhaps we're seeing a pattern here. There's quite a bit of blood on the bridge of his nose, and his left eye looks terrible.
But don't forget what the power of Woodley feels like. I mean, these guys get hit and you start seeing that his opponents, Woodley's opponents, slow down. The power is serious, and it is something they're aware of.
And here we see Tyron Woodley land a glancing right hand. There's a nice one right there, and that's the one that dropped him. And here he threw this flurry of punches, capped by that right hand.
Just a little bit more, okay?
Pot shot of that one in
picking
there.
him apart and really weaken him up, all right? So just keep touching him, all right? Just keep touching him. Just inch your way forward. Just creep forward and just keep touching him. He can't take you down. He's already given up on that. He's going to shoot just so you don't hit him. So just keep touching him. He shoots, just sprawl, get back up, punch on the break. Yeah.
Wipe down some shovel. Wipe down that sweat. Remember what's been working for you. Wipe down. Let's go. Bring it up. Good job. Stay on top of it. All right.
Well, that's how you maximize those 60 seconds. Nice 1-2 punch there, Joe, with Dean Thomas and Duke Rufus.
Yeah, two outstanding coaches.
Yeah, Dean Thomas was on the money saying he's giving up on the takedown. He's just shooting to not take damage at this point. Right. I mean, I couldn't have read that any better.
All right, championship rounds here. Tyron Woodley in the black and gold, befitting a champion. Damian Maia, the challenger, in white. And we'll see if there's a little bit of an uptick in the aggression here from T. Wood in this 4th round.
Or from Maia.
That too.
I mean, Maia's got to be in a position where he realizes both of his eyes are closing. He hasn't done anything significant. We're in the 4th round. Does he just keep going like this and lose a decision? Or does he try to make something happen and risk getting knocked out?
It's always worth the risk of getting knocked out. Just go. It's better than Better than anything else, just go. Just be a goer.
Be a goer.
Especially because after you get knocked out, you don't remember it anyway.
Shot again, easily stuffed.
And when you saw these guys face to face at the weigh-in yesterday, you couldn't help but notice Maia's size advantage, but Woodley's strength has certainly been a factor here tonight. Maia 0 for 14 on his takedown attempt.
Well, that size advantage is really just height.
Yeah.
When you come to just physical bulk, look at the size of Woodley. And the strength and power of Woodley, along with his technique, are a huge factor.
Well, Damian Maia trying to get after it here, working on a single leg with Woodley up against the fence.
And this is technical wrestling by Woodley. He's going to cut the corner and it takes the pressure off the single leg. I mean, that's just what...
He just bounces out of the way brilliantly.
The whole camp for Woodley was defending takedowns. That's what he had to do, just have somebody shoot on him nonstop, and that was it. And so he's well prepared for this matchup. Maia, if he's going to have success, he's just... I know he wants to be a jiu-jitsu and a grappling practitioner, but you got to throw more strikes to set that up a little bit.
Do you think that ship has sailed? That ship of just being a jiu-jitsu guy who uses takedowns?
I think that ship has sailed if you have nothing except a left hand to set it up. You have to have more weapons to set it up. That's it. It's not that it doesn't work. He is effective with it. He can use it against probably the top 10 in the division, but not the top 3. It comes to a halt there at the top 3. Those are the best of the best, and it's back and forth between those guys, and you got to have more weapons to set up a one-dimensional approach.
Well, in that fight at UFC 211, Maia Masvidal very close. It could easily be game bread in there tonight as Woodley slips that leg out yet again.
So easy.
And another thing is in wrestling, I mean, you got shoes on, so you can't do that. You can't just slip your leg out.
Right.
In an MMA fight, you can do that 100% of the time, which is technically not supposed to be good technique in a wrestling match. But here, you can use it every time.
All right, less than 2 minutes now to go in this 4th round. Damian Maia has spent 3.5 years working for this title shot, so let's see the extent to which he gets after it here late in this fight.
Tyron landed another right hand there. Inside leg kick by Damian. Now here's the question. Damian is obviously trying to press the action, and Tyron isn't landing much. How is this being scored?
Your guess is as good as mine.
It gets weird, right? I mean, clearly when it comes to damage, Tyron has been able to bust up Damian's face. But with how many shots? And are the judges taking that in consideration? Are they thinking about the fact that Maia is pushing the pace? Because we're not seeing a lot of offense from Tyron. We're seeing some effective offense.
Well, if you think about it, the Wonder Boy Woodley fight was similar. And Woodley won by doing more damage just like this.
But Woodley stunned him and hurt him badly. There's not been that yet.
Well, he did dropped
him
Damian.
once. Yeah, they tagged him there. But when he hurt Wonder Boy, he had Wonder Boy on the way out, and Wonder Boy managed to survive. In the round that he knocked him down and hurt him, clearly he probably won that round. And he's probably won quite a few rounds. But who knows how judges are looking at this?
Well, and only if a judge can't determine a round winner based upon effective striking and grappling do they go to the other conditions like aggression or octagon control. At least in this round, Maia has certainly been aggressive at times.
He just isn't landing enough.
Yeah. All right, final seconds here of this 4th round. $20 minutes down, 5 to go to determine the UFC welterweight champion. A look back now at round 4.
And we can see here that Maia tries a takedown, but you see him fall on his butt. You got to drive through your takedowns. And right here you see he's got the single leg, but Woodley grabs the fence. He should have a point taken here according to Herb, but he's able to cut the corner because of that, grab the butt, turn the corner here, relieves the pressure of the single leg from Maia, and that stopped the takedown right there. And then he slides the leg right out off another single leg attempt of Maia. And that's why you got to have a single leg and be able to transition to the upper torso of the body or transition to a double leg. But Woodley knows these things, controls the opposite hand, and keeps you from transitioning.
You got to can't give up, man. Come on, let's go.
All right, 5th and final round, so it all comes down to this for Damian Maia. He will be 40 in November. It took him 7 years to get back to a UFC championship fight, granted down a division. Let's see if he can make the most of these final 5 minutes. And for the UFC welterweight champion, Tyron Woodley, perhaps still work to be done to make sure he leaves with his hand raised tonight.
Dom, are you frustrated by the advice that Damian is getting in his corner?
No, I'm frustrated by the fact that Maia's not throwing more strikes for himself. He got in deep on a double there. Wow. But we saw him quit driving forward, and that allowed Woodley to be able to escape it.
Outstanding takedown defense for Tyron Woodley on display yet again. 17, 0 for 17.
Just perfect takedown defense.
Perfect takedown defense, and Maia's open mat shots need more drive to him.
Decent shot from Maia there, nothing doing. Maia's suffered, Dom, a similar left eye injury in that fight against Anderson Silva. Still hard to know the extent to which it's hampering him tonight.
Even in the takedowns that Maia's finished in his past, he pulls you back. He doesn't drive forward. And that is the takedown essential in the open mat, is the driving force and the head, the cutting the corner. He's not doing that. He's stopping on his knees, which is what they teach you to never do on a takedown. You can't stop on your knees. You'll get stopped every time by the man who's on his feet.
So unofficially, 20 takedowns attempted by Damian Maia thus far. He has yet to land one.
And not even coming close.
Well, now you're seeing Woodley hitting the down block, which is meaning the arm goes down like a gate to the floor before Maia can even get to the leg, and that's because Woodley's gotten the read on the type of shots that Maia's making. Before it was just the strong hips of Woodley. Now he's hitting his down blocks, which is the arms before the hips.
So mixed martial arts, a constant balance of risk and reward, I guess. But if you're Tyron Woodley, do you sit on the lead a little bit here? Do you force the issue? What do you do?
Damian tagged him with a left hand there.
And that's what keeps him, that's what keeps Woodley real. You know, you get tagged every once in a while, you go, okay, I need to wait a minute.
Well, we are on pace to shatter the record.
Head kick.
There, now you know what it looks like.
We're going to shatter the record for fewest total strikes landed in a welterweight title fight.
Oh, no. That's not a record we want to break.
No, we don't.
Again. I mean, not much time. Halfway mark of the final round.
I got to tell you, those burns on Maia's knees are going to hurt in the shower.
Look at all the cell phones in the audience. What are these people doing? It's kind of freaking me out.
I don't know what that means, but...
I don't know what it means either, but how'd they all sync up like that?
Just over 2 minutes here to go in this 5th and final round. See if Maia tries to shoot again. You wonder how much is left in his gas tank here. We mentioned this was a relatively quick turnaround for him.
Good straight left there by Maia.
Yep. So unofficially, Woodley has landed 42 significant strikes, 19 for Maia. Nice straight right.
Yeah. The chant of boring. The last thing a fighter ever wants to hear. But he shucks off another takedown attempt by Maia.
Of course, coming up next, the rematch between Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones, our UFC light heavyweight championship main event.
Woodley staying composed, hearing everything, knowing everything that's going on in the crowd, knowing everything that's going on in the fight, staying composed, sticking to the game plan, not getting overzealous.
And we're at the final minute, folks.
It only takes one mistake when you're fighting Maia. One. And Maia knows that.
Yeah, but not a lot of time.
Agreed.
50 seconds to go. It's just getting him down is going to be hard, and then submitting him with that little amount of time, good luck.
Now Woodley could sprint, is what you're saying, right, Joe?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, if Woodley really wants to make an impression, he has been able to dominate these exchanges, stuff every takedown. He's clearly faster, clearly hits harder.
So So a new career high, 23 takedown attempts for Damian Maia. And here we are, final seconds of this fight. He has yet to get Woodley down. That was his path to victory. Nothing doing against the former Big 12 champion and UFC welterweight king, Tyron Woodley. Nice head movement there. So Tyron Woodley and Damian Maia go the distance. Woodley looking to make it 3 straight successful title defenses at 170 pounds. This fight replay is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
There's a right hand over the top by Tyron. There's a beautiful right hand that dropped Damian Maia. There's another one. And so many failed takedowns by Damian Maia. Over and over and over again, Tyron was able to stuff the takedowns, avoid the clinch, and most likely retain his title.
Well, as Dominic said, his training camp was largely rooted in stopping shots from Damian Maia, and Maia was certainly persistent early, tried to get Woodley down to no avail. And all indications are Tyron Woodley has done enough on the strength of his striking tonight, Dominic, to retain his UFC welterweight championship in terms of these significant strikes. 45-23 for Woodley.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Woodley landed the more strikes. You could see it in Maia's face and Woodley's face. It says it all for itself. I mean, Woodley fought a great fight, composed fight. I know it probably wasn't the most action-packed for the crowd as you hear the boos, but he got the job done with an extremely effective specialist in Damian Maia. I mean, tough fight for both these guys.
And there's Ben Askren, who would seem to deserve a lot of credit for what Woodley was able to accomplish here tonight. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges scored this contest 50-45, 49-46, and 49-46 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed UFC welterweight champion of the world, Tyron, the Chosen One, Woodley.
I'm here with the winner and still champ, Tyron Woodley. Tyron, this is a fight that stylistically is a very difficult fight. You knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to close the distance and take you down. You were able to stuff all the takedowns, but was any part of his strategy or this fight frustrating to you?
No, you know, he cut off the ring very well. I knew he was going for the takedown. Obviously, if I throw a crazy hooking shots, which I did a couple times, he can get underneath. So I had to be patient, saw my shots. He's a long guy. He's a little bit stronger than what I expected. He hit me with a couple left hands, so kudos to him. But I'm the best in the world, man. I fought 2 specialists back-to-back. So I'm excited to fight a freestyle fighter and take on George St. Pierre November 4th in Madison Square Garden.
Now, this was a smart fight. You won this fight clearly, but the record was broken for the least amount of strikes thrown in any fight. All this stuff, does this bother you at all? Or do you just realize you did what you had to do to win?
It doesn't bother me at all, because if you're going in there against a jiu-jitsu specialist, how many guys has he went in there and taken down, got on their back and submitted them because they was overzealous and they were swinging crazy strikes? So this doesn't bother me at all. I went out there, I had a phenomenal fight. I can go another couple rounds right now if I had to. I'm just excited to fight a freestyle fighter, someone that I can use all my skills against instead of just defending what they're doing and trying to implement some strong striking.
Congratulations on defending your title. Tyron Woodley, ladies and gentlemen.
And I thought the champ handled that well as usual. Those boos will eventually fade, and when you wake up Monday morning, Tyron Woodley will still be the UFC welterweight champion. Will we ever see another UFC flyweight champion? There he is, Mighty Mouse. Demetrius Johnson, the great Gordon Ramsay is in the building here tonight, as is the UFC Hall of Famer, the Iceman and former UFC champion, Chuck Liddell. Well, 28 days from now, August 26th, it will be one of the biggest sporting events of our lifetime. Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, under the lights.
king is born. I told you before, a king is born. Now I told you before, king is born.
No fighter in the history has done what Floyd Mayweather has done.
I'm gonna knock him out, mark my words. King is born.
Mayweather versus McGregor, Saturday, August 26th at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
All right, Sean Anik, Joe Rogan, Dominic Cruz, Octagon side here in Anaheim, California. And Joe, even during a week in which we will host one of the biggest fights in UFC history, it seems like the conversation eventually turns to August 26th, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. Boxing, let's go.
The freak show. I mean, it is a freak show, and it's an amazing one. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm very excited about it. We've never seen a guy ever that has 0 professional fights in boxing fight a boxing match against arguably the best boxer of all time. 49-0. We're talking about a guy who's only been hit clean maybe 6 times in his entire career. I mean, kudos to Conor McGregor for talking people into this. Kudos for everybody for setting this up. Dominic Cruz, how do you feel about this?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, we're waiting for an upset in the MMA community. That's what Conor McGregor is known for. He's the upset king. We've doubted him over and over and over, and he's gone out and upset every single person that he's fought that we thought he could win. I mean, we're talking about everybody. He's knocking them out. He's got the power in both his hands. So, because he has said everything that he's going to do, and he's gone out and done it, now we're going to give him a chance against the greatest boxer of all time and see if he can do it with his hands. I give him 6 rounds of chance with his power. After that 6 rounds, I see a clinic by Mayweather. But the truth is, this man has the tactical advantage with size, youth, and the power in his hands.
And you can be sure when Conor McGregor walks to that boxing ring at T-Mobile Arena on August 26th, he will carry with him all the belief in the world that he will shock the masses and upset Floyd Mayweather. So a little viewing guide for you, August 26th. Fox will have a pre-fight show, then the prelims coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then at 9 p.m. Eastern, Showtime pay-per-view to be followed by the post-fight show on FS1, wall-to-wall coverage of the biggest fight in combat sports history. All right, now a message from UFC strawweight Paige Van Zandt.
I ride a Harley just because it's fun. I've always been a thrill seeker, and I've always been somebody who was in, I guess, more male-dominated sports, but I don't like to put limitations on myself just because of who I am. I like to break stereotypes, and I want to do that with Harley.
And now live from Honda Center in Anaheim, California, it is time for the main event for UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones 2, brought to you by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. So the UFC's most heated rivalry finally gets its rematch tonight. Daniel Cormier defending his light heavyweight crown against the only man to defeat him in the octagon, former champion Jon Bones Jones.
When I hear the name Jon Jones, I think supreme talent.
The greatest pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Extreme.
The UFC has stripped Jon Jones of his light heavyweight title.
When I hear the name Daniel Cormier, the first thing that comes to mind, hater.
Jon Jones, my octagon, I'm the man.
Without a win over me, was it even real?
What Jon Jones represents is a story that's as old as time. It represents youth and talent and potential, and it represents all of the demons. Jon has shown it all.
I do believe that he needs to own up to his mistakes.
It's pretty public that I'm not a perfect person, but I don't remember signing anything that said I had to be a perfect person. I just think it's funny that he is just so high and mighty. Who was he to judge me? Ultimately, my job is just to kick his ass, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Losing to Jon, I had a lot of sleepless nights. I mourned that loss, and I would let it literally just eat me alive so that I never have to feel that way again.
I hope he's somewhere crying right now. I'm sure he is.
Can Jon find maturity and discipline, or can Cormier pass the incredibly talented former champion and become the best light heavyweight of all time. This is Ali versus Frazier in MMA.
I don't really take anything personally, but I would like to just give him a sustained beating. He's that arrogant, he's cocky, he's a prick. He doesn't get the belt back.
DC has the belt, but he's not the true champion because he's in my era. I feel like winning this fight just closes a certain chapter in my life.
This isn't validation for my championship reign. I've been the champion for 2.5 years. I go out there as the champ, I walk out as the champ. There is no other outcome.
That guy has a perfect record. I'm the only person to beat him. A victory over me would legitimize him as one of the greatest fighters ever. If it happens the other way, he was just the guy who could have been.
I get a chance to redeem myself. Once I beat Jon Jones, I'm in the conversation as the greatest fighter to ever step foot in the octagon. This one's for legacy.
I'm excited to just put this man away once and for all.
Goosebumps.
With about as much fanfare as you would expect, the #1 ranked light heavyweight contender, the consensus greatest light heavyweight of all time, Johnny Bones Jones, is back. He'll look to pick up where he left off.
And physically, he looks sensational. I've watched some of the training footage, and Jon has been more focused with more discipline for this camp than any in recent memory. He knows what's on the line, and his quote that I want to get my life back. That says it all. This is his opportunity to do just that. And it looks like he has done everything perfect in preparation. All word has been that he has been laser beam focused in preparation for this attempt to win back his title.
Jon Jones represents how tough it is to not just be the best fighter in the world, but to be the best fighter in the world with life around you still happening. I mean, he was so young when he became champion that it was incredible that he even did it. And then you give everything in the world to this 21-year-old straight out of high school, straight out of college, just give him everything on earth. And then you say, good luck, have fun. And you know what? He did. He did have fun. He did figure it out. And he did it his way. And I think that a lot of fans around the world have connected with that Jon Jones just as much as they've dealt with this Jon Jones.
Tonight's Prep Point is brought to you by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend.
All young, wild champions seem to have that story. Mike Tyson's a perfect example of that. I mean, so many fighters.
Liddell.
Yeah, so many fighters in that situation fall victim to the excess, fall victim to the temptation, all the chaos, all the friends, all the parties, all the toys.
It's kind of like Liddell Couture in a sense. I mean, you got Couture, who was the perfect All-American wrestler who did everything right perceivably. And then you got the opposite. Liddell, who's just a wild man. And we're seeing that again, except new day and age. This is the evolution of mixed martial arts through these two gentlemen. We watch Couture, we watch Liddell, and now we're seeing Jon Jones, and now we're seeing Daniel Cormier. And this is how the sport has built up.
Well, and when it comes to Jon Jones, the fighter, you mentioned, Joe, the physical conditioning. He said he's going to be no more than 217 pounds in there tonight. But when you talk to his coaches, when it comes to volume, technique, creativity, they're telling us we ain't seen nothing yet. We'll see if this is indeed Jon Jones 2.0 here tonight, as he looks to, in his words, restore order to this UFC light heavyweight division and leave as the new champion at 205 pounds. Jon Jones back where he belongs, inside the octagon. UFC light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier, and his last fight against Anthony Rumble Johnson in Buffalo, we were all there. He said he was in shape, but he just said there was too much comfort in his mentality. He felt like there was a clear path to victory that night, and as a result, he wasn't in the shape of his life. If Jon Jones is in the shape of his life, the same can be said for the current champion, DC.
I think DC is so motivated for this fight. This is a legacy fight for him. The words, "you're not the real champ," have been stinging him for a couple years now. Despite his fantastic victory over Gustafsson, despite his 2 victories over a man who many people believe is the most dangerous light heavyweight alive in Rumble Johnson, he still knows that he did not beat Jon Jones, and Jon Jones is still out there. This is his opportunity. This is his moment.
And you know, I don't think it's true that DC's not the champ. I think he earned this championship, and I think that's why these gentlemen are here. He's been a role model to everybody all over the world, to wrestling, to fighting. He's done a great job as champion, keeping high-level fights and beating the top in the division while Jon was out, keeping this division alive. He has done outstanding things for the sports of mixed martial arts, wrestling, and fighting in general. So these guys are evenly matched as champions, in my opinion. I don't see it any other way, and I cannot wait to see these two fight. I even hope it goes to a 3rd match, just because I can't help it.
I agree with you on all counts, but in his mind and in the minds of the fans, Jon Jones is still young, still active, still healthy, and Daniel Cormier has not beaten him.
Right.
And that will always be that until tonight.
Agreed.
Tonight, Daniel Cormier has a chance to silence all the doubters, all the haters, put it down, and stick it in Jon Jones' face.
And when I asked DC about the first meeting in 2015, he said, I'm no longer the angry challenger. I now am much more in tune with a 5-round fight. I'm stronger, I'm training harder, and you will see those results here tonight. We'll see if Daniel Cormier can get it done tonight against Jon Jones and potentially leave here as the greatest fighter in mixed martial arts history. Our Tale of the Tape is brought to you by Performance Inspired, the all-natural high-performance line of sports nutrition trusted by athletes and health enthusiasts. Visit pi-nutrition.com. So Daniel Cormier now 38. Jon Jones turned 30 earlier this month. You see the discrepancy in height, but it's the reach that everybody's talking about, and rightfully so. A 12-inch advantage with the challenger, Jon Jones. All right, now for the official introductions. Back inside of Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Harley-Davidson. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission. Executive Officer Andy Foster. Our 3 judges scoring this contest in octagon side are Guillermo Bravo, Chris Lee, and Michael Bell. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the octagon, Big John McCarthy. This bout is sponsored by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. And Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. And now, this is the moment UFC fans watching around the world have been waiting for. Live from the sold-out Honda Center in Anaheim, California. It's time! 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a look-see-do fighting style fighter, holding a professional record, 22 wins, 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 204 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, by way of Endicott, New York, presenting the former UFC light heavyweight champion and the #1 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, Jon Jones! And now introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 19 wins, 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of San Jose, California, presenting the former Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix champion and the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel DC Cormier!
Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the back. I want you to protect yourself at all times. I want you to listen to my instructions at all times. I want you to fight hard but fight clean. If you want to touch gloves, touch them now. Good. Step back. Good luck.
Here we go. The wait is over. Jon Jones is back for the first time since April of 2016 to take on one of his chief rivals, if not his chief rival, the reigning champ, Daniel Cormier. Tonight's Fight Clock is brought to you by HSS, the world leader in orthopedics. Jon Jones in white getting off early here. Cormier in the black with gold.
Cormier checking the kicks very well right off the bat. See if he catches it. Can create wrestling from the catching those kicks at all.
Oh, big. Looked like he knocked the mouthpiece out.
He did.
Huge
Big John
uppercuts.
picked it up. Spinning back kick to the body by John. Jones is fighting without a mouthpiece right now. Big John looks for an opportunity to give it back to him. Takedown for Jon Jones.
Not quite.
DC
No
right
control.
back up to his feet.
There's no control from that takedown. Cormier was able to flip him right up. They'll still probably call it a takedown, though, the judges anyways.
Jones with left hand over the top.
Southpaw stance from Jones. Watch the left high kick coming. See, Jones is eating the inside kick coming over the top of the Superman punch.
Small cut underneath the left eye of Daniel Cormier. You can't help but notice the obvious size discrepancy.
Jones just so long, he reaches so far. Spectre Gadget arms and legs.
Well, and he's a guy who will have length over most heavyweights if indeed he chooses to move up one day.
Cormier needs to keep the pressure, stay in the chin of Jones so he can't use his length so well. See the pressure from DC like he should be. The feints are going to do huge dividends, pay huge dividends for Jones if he keeps those fakes going on DC.
John loves those oblique kicks to the thighs that hyperextend your knees.
Jones shucks Cormier off there. DC 13-0 as a heavyweight before moving down to 205 pounds. He's never been finished in mixed martial arts.
Look at this, the height of Jones makes underhooks from DC not as effective. He has to jack Jon Jones up in order for an underhook to work.
Nice
He's
knee
not
to
able
the
to.
body there.
And those are the knees we saw Jones land on DC early to take the rounds 4 and 5 out of DC's gas tank. Let's see if he can do it again.
DC felt like the Jon Jones that fought Ovince St. Preux looked rusty, he looked nervous, he looked hesitant to pull the trigger, and he's hoping that that Jon Jones is who he's facing here tonight.
Some have suggested, Dan Hardy included, that maybe Jon Jones didn't want to reveal too much. Daniel Cormier was sitting in these seats doing commentary for that fight.
Oh, I doubt that. Yeah. He would love to look spectacular. That doesn't make any sense at all. And it's not taking anything away from Ovince St. Preux, who's an excellent fighter. He's a difficult guy, and he's a guy that Jon took on short notice, so it wasn't a fighter that he was preparing for.
Right.
Big thing I noticed, look how calm DC is right now. He knows the strikes are coming, but he's seeing what's coming at him. So he's making reads right now, calm.
It's very different than the first time they fought. Not emotional, methodical.
Yep. See it in his eyes. He's right here.
Yep.
He's getting clipped every here and there, just like every other fight, though. I mean, both these guys are getting hit.
But nobody takes a shot better than DC.
Oh, no doubt about it.
The only guy that's been able to absorb the bombs from Rumble.
And heavyweights prior to Rumble Johnson.
Very good point.
Less than 2 minutes here to go, round one. So you've got to say, pretty good start here for Cormier, the betting underdog here tonight.
We'll see for Jones, he grabs your hands, and comes over with an elbow. His elbows are like a right hand or a jab.
Yeah, he used that very well against Rashad.
But then when he gets you to start grabbing his hands, that's when he comes down the middle with punches. So he just mixes it up so well.
That was an outstanding leg kick by Cormier, and John just checked the second one. Oh, he caught him with a left hook.
I like that DC's going to the body of Jones. I think that's the best plan you can have. Rip the body of Jones and go to the head later on in the rounds.
DC looks so much more composed in this fight. So much more relaxed. And you got to think, this is a guy who's fought Rumble twice and Gustafsson since their fight. 5 hard rounds with Gustafsson. And we saw how fantastic Gustafsson looked against Glover Teixeira in his last fight.
Agreed. And DC's seeing everything as well.
He caught him.
Big punches landed by DC. And he's hanging on the head of Jones, looking for uppercuts, knees. There they are. There's the uppercut he likes.
Less than 30 seconds here to go in the round. Jones touching deep.
Over the top.
DC, combination, starting with a kick, ending with a kick, finish mixing punches in between. I mean, it's a different Daniel Cormier right now with his combinations in this first round.
And he's talking trash.
He is talking now.
He's feeling it.
Well, Jones outlanded Cormier, but you've got to be encouraged if you're out of that red corner.
And we see here that Jones is throwing big overhand lefts. He's switching stance. DC gets a nasty right uppercut, punches the mouthpiece right out of Jon Jones. This is what we saw in the first fight was these uppercuts. This is where DC is so good. He gets you to bite on his shots, and then he hits you with the uppercuts. Here, a nice trip from Jones. No control on the takedown, but a good trip. Beautiful knee to the ribs of DC, and then a left hook, right overhand, left hook, right uppercut from DC to the body at the end. He's trying to transition.
Keep busy. Don't let him be first too much, okay? More than one. High and low.
Keep them hands still.
Add some face,
Beautiful
okay?
hands.
Add some
Keep
face.
hands. But I need this point.
Beautiful. Keep control of the pace.
Okay.
Beautiful job.
Hey, stay relaxed.
Bob Cook, Javier Mendez in that corner of Daniel Cormier. They really like the handwork out of DC in that first round. Round 2 forthcoming. Jones is in white. Daniel Cormier in the black trunks with gold trim.
Nice left hook to the body, partially blocked. Nice knee to the body by John.
Jones finds a home for that right hand over the top.
DC's landed several of those right leg kicks. And there's another one. And John switching stances, perhaps because of it.
Cormier closes the distance, rips the body, doing a pretty good job getting inside of that reach of Jon Jones.
We saw the momentum towards the end of the first round go towards Daniel Cormier.
I think DC said there was a headbutt possibly. I think that's what I heard. Yeah, it was a headbutt. It was a headbutt when DC went to scoop up that lead leg of Jones. They clashed heads.
Hurting it all in any way. Let the doctor look at it. I'm just going to let him look at it real quick.
Right there, clear.
1 second. Come here. Hold that. It's unintentional clash of heads. Good, thank you. Stay
Jones is so long, his legs just catch him up and hold him up. I mean, that's a takedown on almost anybody else by Cormier, but Jones with his balance and his length.
All right, we resume the second round here, 1 minute in. Jones choosing to work the body here. He's done so to great effect in the early going.
He's so effective with that stomp to the thigh. That's such a tricky technique. Beautiful left hook and a right hand over the top by DC.
And now we're seeing DC use the same strategy Jones uses. He grabs the hands and then starts throwing combinations once he gets Jones to reach.
Couple nice inside leg kicks there for Johnny Bones. Now DC returns fire.
That one he caught, though, on the shin.
It's the pressure of DC that's going to make the biggest difference. Can he keep this type of pace and this type of pressure for all 5 rounds? We saw him do it for 3 last time.
But you got to think that there's a lot going on in that first fight as well with emotions.
Cormier shakes off the groin strike there. Under 3 minutes here to go in the round.
Those teep kicks to the knees of Cormier just really disrupt the punch count of DC. It keeps the pressure from happening, keeps DC from being able to keep his feet underneath them when he throws punches.
Nice rip to the body by Jon.
DC starting to chase Jon a little bit more instead of head him off. There we go. Now we see him head him off. That's what DC's got to do, is not get caught up chasing Jones, following him, but head him off. Another big right hand, double left hook right hand by DC.
Looked like it landed right behind the ear by Jones.
DC saying you're missing.
Oh, beautiful 2 shots. Left hook and a right uppercut.
Big uppercuts. Now DC's getting him coming in. Breaking his posture. Got Jones grabbing for a clinch and he's hitting him.
Jones with a high kick.
DC just oozing confidence here.
This is absolutely a different Daniel Cormier than their first fight.
Fighting Gustafsson helped him a ton. You've got to believe that. A longer, lankier striker. And that's paid dividends in this matchup with Jones as well. He's had experience while Jones was out, and he's made the best of it.
Beautiful trip by Daniel, but he wound up on the bottom. Nice knee to the body.
I mean, that trip was beautiful, and the recovery from Jones was beautiful. I mean, these guys are just...
I mean, these are easily the 2 best light heavyweights of all time.
In wrestling, they move like 125ers. I mean, they just have the right movements. They know where everything's at.
Body strikes. Jones doubling up on Daniel Cormier thus far. 1 minute now to go in round 2.
And the biggest difference is look how comfortable DC is underhooking, clinching with Jones. Nobody feels that comfortable, but DC with his Greco background, he's comfortable. He's smiling in the clinch with Jones. He loves it. That's where he wants to be.
DC has been hyper-focused on this rematch since the first meeting 2.5 years ago. Took care of his business while Jon Jones was not competing. Nice 1-2 there from Cormier. So DC continues to be the advancing party here late in round 2. Jones has outlanded him statistically thus far, but it's a good look for the judges when you're advancing and forcing the action.
Oh!
And that first meeting also very competitive through 3 rounds.
Mr. Jones, let's do some big breaths together. Slow it down. Let's do some big breaths. Bring it down. Feel that heart going crazy? Bring it down. Slow down. Slow down. There you go. That's my man. All right, so all that like no stuff, that's him trying to fight out of that nightmare, right? Okay, so you got to stay focused now. It's going to come hard this 3rd round. You got to stay focused and consistent. What are you going to do? Focused and consistent.
There's a beautiful knee to the body by Jon. Cormier glancing right hand over the top and a left hook. Another right hand. That's a nice left to the body by Jon. And there's that stomp, but there's a beautiful uppercut by Cormier. And there's that trip.
Running. Get up.
All right, here we go. Third round of a possible 5 for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. Daniel Cormier, Jon Jones.
Now, if you're looking at the statistics and the numbers, and Jon is outlandy, you got to wonder, how does Cormier's corner feel about this? And what is their advice to Daniel?
Right now, we got Jones landing more because he's longer. He's able to touch DC first, and those kicks. DC's not throwing as many kicks as Jones. Those kicks are adding up on the tolls for Jones on the numbers.
It's also the volume of strikes that Jon's throwing. He's never stopping.
Yep. Well, the kicks set up the punches set up the kicks. It all flows together. DC's got to pressure, walk through the damage in order to get to a clinch or hit more in the clinch, in the pocket. The range is always going to be an issue to get by. Nice, beautiful uppercut left hook. That's been his best combination anytime he commits to the pocket with Jones. Cool.
Cormier continues to press forward here. Jones keeping those eyes low.
Cormier's taking a lot off of his strikes here, just looking for his range.
Well, and you wonder how much he thinks about that first meeting, if at all, in terms of the cardio, specifically in that 4th round, one he had to sort of take off.
Yeah, well, 9-2.
Mike Winklejohn, Izzy Martinez, Brandon Gibson.
Back in the kick, Jon. He's going to try to take us down. Sit in the cage.
DC can't quite head him off. You see Jones get out there. DC wants to head him off, but Jones knows that. Gets off the fence wisely.
Head strike, slight advantage for Daniel Cormier thus far.
And really, Jones just being highly economical, going to the body on DC with the knees, with the low kicks, and with the body punches. It just make it, it's taxing. It adds up.
Cormier once again sends Jones retreating.
He's just having a hard time reaching Jon. Oh, Jon landed a high kick. He's hurt.
DC was stunned by that head kick. Jones trying to press the issue here. Cormier is down. Not out yet.
Cormier's in big trouble. And Jon is all over him.
Here comes Johnny Bones with the ground and pound. Cormier.
That could be it.
Trying to survive.
That's it. He's out. He's out.
Jon Jones has done it. Jon Jones is back. And he is the new UFC light heavyweight champion. How about it?
Wow.
A valiant effort from the now former champion Daniel Cormier, but a patient Jon Jones finds his window and closes the show.
And DC is still down. That was brutal, absolutely brutal.
Perhaps he was allowed to take 1 or 2 strikes too many, Joe.
Yeah, and as emphatic as it gets.
This fight replay, as you see the celebration from the Jones family, is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
And there's the head kick, which started it all off. Perfect placement. DC's in big trouble. Jon moves in and closes the show.
And that's just those teep kicks and the low kicks adding up. DC thought it was low, and he went high with it.
He tripped him there. Jon moves in for the kill. Kick to the body. And drops some horrible elbows on him. And DC's just way too hurt here to do anything about it. And he's eating some big bombs. Big Jon gives him every chance in the world. That's a wrap.
So Jon Jones becomes the first man to finish Daniel Cormier. The celebration is on. In the corner, Big win for Jackson Wink MMA tonight. Jon Jones once again sits atop this UFC light heavyweight division. And a pretty calculated approach tonight, Dominic. He bided his time, and when a window opened, he barged right through it.
That was the approach of a pound-for-pound best. Yeah, that's what that approach was. And Jon Jones fought a smart fight, did everything tactically. Greg Jackson gave him great advice, stay consistent, and over the course, it will add up, and that's what caused the demise of the fight.
Not sure what Cormier's issue is right now.
I think DC just wants to shake his hand. I think he's kind of out of it right now. I think he wants to just say something to Jones. I don't think he's trying to cause a problem right now. They're just trying to keep everything cool in there.
Dana White wisely gets in the middle there. Cormier frustrated with something. All right, with that, the official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Big John McCarthy has called a stop to this contest at 3 minutes, 1 second of the third round, declaring the winner by knockout. And now, and again, the new undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, Jon Bones Jones.
I'm here with the winner, Jon Jones. You made it back.
I made it back, man. Man, such a beautiful moment. Man, I did a lot of right things to get back in this position. Man, I tell you what, man, anybody at home let yourself down, you let your family down, you let your peers down, your coworkers down, you let yourself down, it's never over. As long as you never quit, it's never over. I'm back here. Oh, yeah.
Jon, with all that you've been through over the last few years, the bitter rivalry between you and Daniel, all the emotions, all the struggle, what does this feel like right now to have that belt back around your waist and hear Bruce Buffer say, and new undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world?
It feels unbelievable, man. It feels unbelievable. It's a surreal moment. Man, thank you guys. Thank you all. Everybody. All the love, all the support. I know it hasn't been easy to root for me, but I've had the most loyal fans ever. I love you all. Thank you so much. Even the haters, all the negativity, all the discouraging things that was said. I love you guys too, because you guys motivated me and pushed me to just keep fighting and to prove you all wrong. So I love you all.
Jon, look up at the big screen and let's take a look at the end of the fight. You caught him with his head kick, and this is what started all off. Perfectly placed head kick. You saw he was hurt. Talk us through what was going through your mind when you saw that kick land and you saw his legs give out.
Well, I just want to thank my coaching staff, Greg Jackson, Mike Winklejohn, Brandon Gibson, AZ Styles, Tusa, Mike Beneville. I got the best coach, Lawrence. I got the best coaching staff, Jesse, my swim coach. You know, we know that he likes to dip his head to the left, and we were banking on him to instinctually dip that way sooner or later. And you know, I didn't throw him any high kicks, and I surprised him with that one, and it did the job.
It's over, Jon.
It's over.
You came back?
It is over. Yeah, you know what, Joe? I want to take this time to thank Daniel Cormier for being my biggest rival and motivator. Daniel Cormier, guys, he has absolutely no reason to hang his head. He has been a model champion, a model husband, a model father, a teammate, leader, and I aspire to be a lot more like that man, because he's an amazing human being. Unfortunately, we are opponents, but outside of that, he is a true champion for the rest of his life.
Congratulations, Jon. I hope your life from now on is nothing but good.
There's something about rivalries that brings the great out of all of us, and to show that kind of respect and to be that respectful, Jon Jones, it shows the maturity of himself through the ups and downs of his career. And Daniel Cormier is not done either. Don't think, ladies and gentlemen, that just because he's hurt right now, he's done. He is not out of this. It's an incredible performance.
I'm here with Daniel Cormier. Daniel, give us your thoughts right now.
I don't know, man. I thought the fight was going well. I don't even know what happened. It's like I got kicked in the head. Oh, man, that's so disappointed.
You know, I don't think it's a good idea to interview fighters after they've been knocked out, but I really wanted to give you a chance to express yourself. I know this was an incredible moment for you. It was very emotional. What can you say at all about this and the rivalry between you and Jon?
I don't know, man. I guess if you win both fights, there is no rivalry, so I don't know.
Thank you for everything, Daniel. Daniel Cormier, ladies and gentlemen.
Daniel Cormier humbled in defeat tonight. Jon Jones with
Brock Lesnar. If you want to know what it feels like to get your ass kicked by a guy who weighs 40 pounds less than you, meet me in the octagon.
So the king has regained his throne. And Johnny Bones adding fuel to the Brock Lesnar fire there.
And that's the pound for pound, #1, back on top. Back in the game for all of us.
Jon Jones has never really been beaten in mixed martial arts. He came in as a guy who many people believed was the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time. Did nothing to dispel that theory here tonight. UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones 2, has been brought to you by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. And by Grunt Style, this will defend.
This is the main event of the evening.
People thought I lost it. I didn't lose it. I'm back. I'm back. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Stepping through finishes. Oh! Volkov throwing hands here. Chasing the early knockout. Well, not a good night to be a short guy. The UFC's first live event in September will be on the 2nd of the month in Rotterdam, Netherlands. Alexander Volkov, #5 in the world, or 8 at heavyweight, taking on the skyscraper Stefan Struve. Jermaine Durandamy returns down a division, 135 pounds, against Marion Renault. That is the main card. You can see it on UFC Fight Pass, 3 p.m. Eastern, for the main card on Saturday, September 2nd. But tonight, of course, it is all about Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier. We waited 2.5 years for these guys to run it back. I believe both of their futures are in the UFC Hall of Fame, but this rivalry, this series, belongs to Johnny Bones.
I think Daniel said it best. Very humble in defeat. If he beat me both times, there really is no rivalry.
Yeah, there was a rivalry, though, because he made Jon Jones better. I get his point. I get your point. I get it. There isn't a rivalry anymore. But you need somebody like Daniel Cormier to hold the torch the way he did while Jones was out in order to make Jones come back the way he did. That hungry, that precise, that strong, that on point. Daniel Cormier is partly responsible for making Jon Jones what he is, just like my rivalries are partly responsible for making me who I've become. And you got to tip your hat to DC for the toughness and for everything that Jones said about him afterwards. And how about Jones, you know, showing maturity? That's not the same Jones we saw have the title in the past. The old Jones would have been laughing at his face. This Jones is a mature man who's been through some things, that understands what it's like to feel a low point, and I respect him for the things he said about DC, and I respect DC as well for the champion that he was.
All right, well, let's take a look back at the tape, because there was a lot to like on the Cormier side while it lasted, but ultimately the night belongs to Johnny Bones.
Well, Jon said that they had planned for Daniel to dip his head in that direction, and he didn't throw a lot of high kicks before that, and the one he landed perfect and clean, and then closed the show with an absolutely ferocious display of ground and pound. When he had Daniel hurt, he put him away, and Daniel got up. Apparently there was some dispute. He didn't even understand what had happened. He didn't know he had been knocked out. He was complaining about the stoppage. They had to explain to him. I hate interviewing fighters after they've been knocked out, but I felt like, I mean, I probably shouldn't have done it just now. But Daniel, I felt like, needed his opportunity to express himself, but it's just not a smart move. It's just, I mean, I violated my own idea of, in the moment, of interviewing a fighter after they've been knocked out.
I kind of agree with you. I think you should go with your gut, Joe. I think you understand this sport, and I think you understand what's going on, but I mean, DC didn't even really get to say what he might have wanted to say, I don't think. It's just hard. And when you're in this fight scenario, you don't even know what happened. I don't know what happens half the time. When I win, a lot of guys don't, you know? Jon Jones might not even know what happened. So it's hard. You're dealing with a lot, and it's a lot that hits you at once. So, but you handle the fight. It's just a tough scenario. I don't know. There's no right or wrong way to do that, really.
It is tough. And what I get out of this, what I hope the most, is that Jon Jones emerges from this the best person he can be. That he's gone through all the crazy stuff that he's been through, all the terrible things, and then he comes out of it really realizing his potential and realizing that he almost lost everything. He almost became a felon. He almost became a story of lost potential. Now he's the champ again. He won with an absolutely spectacular performance against one of the best light heavyweights of all time in Daniel Cormier. And he has a fresh start and a new beginning, and possibly a fight with Brock Lesnar.
Well, and I don't know how mature you guys were, 22, 23 years old, but Jon Jones now 30, has a 10-year-old daughter. I mean, he seems to be on the right track, at least for now. We'll see how active a champion, though, he will be. And to your point, he called out Brock Lesnar. As we spin this thing forward, Alexander Gustafsson's probably sitting home not too thrilled about what just transpired after the fight, but how do you see this all playing out?
Well, Madison Square Garden is in November. Let's get the party started, baby. That's what I say.
I mean, I want to see Gustafsson or Brock Lesnar, but I think if I'm Jones, I'd rather fight Brock Lesnar than Gustafsson, personally. I mean, that's just what I'm thinking.
That rematch would be an amazing fight. I mean, Gustafsson looked as good as a fighter can look against Glover Teixeira in his last outing. I mean, video game good looking. I mean, beautiful combinations. He utilized his movement, his footwork brilliantly. That was an Alexander Gustafsson that has learned from all the difficult fights he's had inside the octagon and is recognizing his true potential. I would love to see that fight.
Yeah, don't forget, DC and Jones both fought Alexander Gustafsson to a bitter T. I mean, that was probably Jones' best fight besides DC to date, easily. So I'm all in for that one. Hopefully I'm right here again.
Well, and Brock Lesnar's still suspended, so he would not be able to fight November 4th, but maybe by the end of the year.
Isn't this someone we can bribe?
And
or maybe I can get on that card.
What about Volkan Oezdemir? Can the man get some love? Joe Rogan, Dominic Cruz, outstanding job, fellas.
My goodness, amazing against Jimmy Manuel.
He's knocking everybody out. Like
3 fights in, and he's top 4 in the UFC now in the light heavyweight division.
And he's just touching them, just like tapping them, and they're just going down. He says he doesn't know what's happening.
All right, Joe Rogan, Dominic Cruz, pleasure. Great job,
Pleasure
gentlemen.
as always, gentlemen.
All right, what a night it was here in Anaheim, California. Here's what's coming up inside the Octagon. On Tuesday, the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series begins at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The featured bout at middleweight pits Phil Hawes against Julian Marquez. It's the ultimate job interview, and it's only on UFCFightPass.com. Next Saturday, Sergio Pettis goes for his 4th straight win against the also red-hot flyweight contender Brandon Moreno, winner of his last 11. The Mexico City main card gets going at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1. On Saturday, August 26th, it's a pay-per-view event that cannot be missed as Floyd Mayweather faces UFC lightweight champion Conor McGregor. The Showtime pay-per-view begins at 9 in the East, 6 in the West. And UFC Fight Pass kicks off the September slate with a heavyweight showdown between 2 literal giants. The 6'7" Russian Alexander Volkov goes for a 5th straight win against the near 7-footer, the skyscraper Stefan Struve. It's a UFC Fight Night, September 2nd from Rotterdam, Netherlands. You can watch the UFC 214 post-fight press conference at UFC.com. The UFC 214 post-fight show with Karen Bryant, Kenny Florian, Michael Bisping, and Megan O'Leary is already underway on FS1. For those of you watching in Canada, you can flip it over to TSN as soon as we're done. So that's a wrap from Honda Center. The executive producers of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC President Dana White, Ari Emanuel, and Patrick Whiteside. our Executive Vice President of Operations and Production is Craig Borsari. Coordinating producer, Zach Candido. Tonight's show has been produced by Bruce Connell and directed by Anthony Pasquale Giordano. What a night it was here. Robbie Lawler gets the nod against a very game Donald Cowboy Cerrone, and that gave way to 3 consecutive UFC championship fights. Tanya Evinger about as tough and hardened as it gets, but Chris Cyborg eventually gets her out of there. Chris Cyborg, UFC Women's Featherweight Champion, as she disposes of Tanya Evinger properly here tonight. There is Cyborg with the UFC gold. So Damian Maia had won 7 in a row, was trying to become a UFC champion, but Tyron Woodley had other ideas, and he outlasts Maia over 25 minutes. It all led up to Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones. Daniel Cormier came in undisputed. Jon Jones leaves that way as he puts a capstone on his rivalry with DC. With that, for Joe Rogan, Dominic Cruz, and our entire UFC crew, John Anik saying so long from Anaheim, California. We'll see you in September from Edmonton for UFC 215. Good night, folks. Thank you for watching.